You know,
That's because I just
like,
burned him.
why are we late
Now he has
when
to
there's
shit on
somebody
something.
whose job it is to announce it's time to go live? Just saying.
You keep using that phrase.
But it's my
do
job
not
to
think you
remind you
know.
what he means, so
Fine.
that's
You
okay.
do not know
I'll
if
say
I
we're
know what
live.
it means.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I want to thank everybody for stomping all over Martin's comment. Come barging in, stomping on it like it's on fire. Hey, Martin.
Yeah.
I love you, buddy.
No, you don't. You use me as a trophy.
It's true.
Deep in an underground secret Pacific Island lair, Pop Culture Minefield presents
Minefield
Saturday
presents
Morning Fun Time.
Time.
This is the
afternoon.
Comic Relief Crusader telling you to get your morning cereal ready because here we go.
Boogada, boogada, boogada.
For some
We're
of
live.
us, it's actually evening. Talking about Andy and me.
Yes, when you live on the other side of the planet, of course, it's a different time of day. But let's not get into that. So
Remember, Gary, you're wrong. That's all you need
I'm
to know,
always
man.
wrong. When you're in a relationship, no matter how right you are wrong. I've learned that, and
Not from me.
no, no, I never learned that because they were talking about it the other night on one of the shows, and they said, "Just remember when you have an argument." I said, "Yeah, I'm so good at never losing fights. I have 4 solid divorces from it."
And that should tell you
Yes.
something.
Yeah, that
Maybe.
I don't lose a fight. I won't lose a fight. I will. If I'm going to bother to argue, I'm there to win. I don't like arguing to begin with. And you know that, Adam. I don't like arguing.
Well, we're the
I like
same. When it
I like
comes to
discussing things, and if we don't agree, I will point out why you're wrong, and then give you a chance to point out why I'm right.
yeah, and quite often I just can't see why he would be right and I would be wrong. So we
Fuck
leave it
you,
at a
Gary.
tie very often.
Gary, this is in danger of turning into the Monty Python's argument clinic sketch.
Yeah, I know, right? This is an argument. No, it's not.
This is abuse.
So, hey, everybody, we have a special guest today. Our good friend Justin of the Red Shirt is here because he's a big fan of this movie too. It's not just
Huge.
me. And now Anima. Anima is a fan of this film. She fell in love with this movie
Oh, yeah.
because it's so well done. And I have had a thing for first of all, I'm a big fan of Tom Selleck, obviously, but I am a huge fan of Laura San Giacomo. I started watching the show Just Shoot Me for her, but then I was like, oh, David Spade's in it too. Good.
It's such a great show. It's one of the TV shows that we're watching when we're hanging out.
I've got her watching it from episode 1, and we're going to go through the entire series, 7 seasons. It should have got more. I thought it was a better show than that. They should have got a decade out of that. But
7 is a
sometimes
good run, though.
the guys decide to end a show, and that's kind of what happened. They weren't canceled. They kind of ended the show. Same with Star Trek. Star Trek should have gotten 10 years, in my opinion. Next Generation, I'm sorry. If Nielsen ratings had made the changes a year earlier, Star Trek would have lasted, would have gone for the full at least 5 years. But the Nielsen ratings weren't changed yet, and so they weren't doing very well. But if they had made those changes, Nielsen ratings would have changed their age groups, and their ratings would have gone like way up. It's luck of the timing. E. Clay Thomason is here. Greetings, Cowboys. Lady V is here. Suzanne Eckstein is here. Or is it Eckstein? I'm never sure. Penny is here. And Sporking News Podcast is here. Let's see who else is in the chat. Hey, Michael, Comic Relief Crusader. Dude, I need to talk to you. We need to update the Saturday afternoon Funtime intro. So I need you to redo the voice. And of course, our dear friend in the UK, Andy Morrow, who made some meat pies today. I got to see the photos of them. They look yummy. Although I am curious, Andy, what was that on top of the pie crust? Because you didn't put sugar on top of a meat pie, did you? And goddamn, if that's salt, whew, that's a lot of salt.
That's really a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I showed the photo to Anima. I'm like, what is that? And she thought, is it flour? And I went, no, it's crystal. It's crystallized. So it's either sugar or it's salt. Either
Or
one
maybe
kind of
some
threw me.
weird kind of grated cheese, like the really dry Parmigiano.
Yeah. But I'm a big, Parmigiano doesn't crystallize, though. That's why I'm just really thrown by it. I am curious, though, Andy, what you put on top of that pie. Because it seemed to be kind of bunched up in one spot. But I am a big fan of English pasties. Low
It
salt.
is salt.
Okay, so it was salt. Because there was a little pocket of salt there, and I'm like, God damn, that's gonna be a mouthful of salt. But he had taken a beef and vegetable meat pie, and it looked really good. And when I lived in England, man, I lived on those things. Steak and kidney pie, yum, dude, yum. And used to be people don't want to eat kidneys because it's a cleansing organ. But the fact is, if it's cleaned, it's as good an organ meat as any. And it's chopped up into little pieces and put in there with steak. And it is really good. So let's see. Anybody else wants to know? That's it. So we're going to be talking about Quigley Down Under today, which is one of my favorite films of all time. It absolutely was an influence on Vindicated because of who Quigley is and the way he conducts himself. And I love the way he plays his character. And I don't know about you guys, but because the film was called Quigley Down Under, I just assumed we were going to get more Quigley films. It just never happened, that he'd have other adventures because he's an interesting character. A guy from the Old West that at that point was already beginning to move into its death throes.
Yeah.
And
I think this movie was sabotaged. I think this movie came out at the wrong time and the studio killed it. And I'll say that because I went to look up its box office numbers last night.
Yeah, because I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it on VHS.
Right. This movie was released in the US and the UK in 1990 and in Australia in 1991. At least more than a half a year later.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. And if you look at buythenumbers.com, it does not have an international box office. It's not listed. It made about 110% of its production budget at the box office. And as we know, they get about 50 to 60% of the box office goes to the distributor. It didn't make its production budget back, and it lost everything, what little they did, because I don't remember it either in the theaters. Whatever they put into marketing of it, they lost that too. So while Selleck was hopeful that there'd be another movie, nobody was going to pick it up after it lost this much money. But I think it lost the money because it wasn't marketed. It was late for if it was anything, it was going to be the resurgence of the Western. Calling this a neo-Western is silly, in my opinion. This is a white hat, black hat story. The only thing it needs to be a Gene Autry film is for Tom Selleck to burst into song. So
Yeah.
It's basically a throwback Western. And the studio just didn't seem to want to have anything to do with it. So it died. I think it's a cult classic now because, like some other movies that were so badly treated in the theater, like The Princess Bride, it's come on in home video. And people now are starting to appreciate it years after it came out. Of course, unfortunately, years after it'd be possible to create a sequel to it.
Well, that's a good point, though. A lot of films end up getting a second life through other means. I mean, you look at Blade Runner. Blade Runner flopped in the theater, as did, John Carpenter's The Thing. They both came out close together, and both were in direct competition with the movie of the year, which I hated, E.T.
Yes.
And it just, it sunk them. People weren't, wanted happy, sweet alien. They didn't want dark apocalyptic future or an apocalyptic invasion, of a creature that takes over your body. They didn't want that. They wanted E.T. And it's like, okay. But the film did find its footing with fans, and I know a lot of people who've seen it that love this movie. And I know that I have always been a fan of this film from the moment I saw it. And it was written by the same guy. Let's see, was it Snowy River? Was that what he did previously? Man from Snowy River. What was the film written by? This based on source material. I got to go find that out real quick. Do you recall anything?
The writer was John Hill. Let me look him up on IMDb. Take me a sec.
Let me go. Yeah, John Hill. I'm looking him up now too.
Writer.
It seemed like he had done something, because I remember when they promoted it, it says from the man or person that brought you something. And I'm trying to remember what it was.
By the way, this movie is also one of those YouTube movies you can.
Oh, he was an additional writer on Close Encounters. I'm sorry.
Yep.
What did you say?
This movie is also one of the YouTube movies, so you can watch it with just ads on the platform.
Oh, I like that.
But I recommend you buy it. Find a Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's sort of like, certain movies, like we're going to be doing this film too down the line, is the shootout at the OK Corral movie, Tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be doing that film eventually, and that's a movie you definitely don't want commercial interruption on.
Most definitely.
I just want to. You started to say something? Oh, there you go. Blu-ray.
Yeah, there.
Okay. Send it to me.
And that cover art for that Blu-ray has the two biggest characters in the movie in it. Quigley and his Sharps rifle. This made the Sharps rifle famous.
Yes, in fact, their orders were ridiculous, because you have to wait 6 months to a year if you order a Sharps rifle.
Yep.
To begin with. And then the minute this movie came out, they had trouble keeping up with all the orders coming in. But that video, by the way, that you suggested for me was great. And if you want to pull that up at some point, we can watch that video maybe towards the end of the show, of that guy who recreated the shots.
I looked for it. I actually couldn't find it. If you found it, you've got.
Oh,
the link.
I found it.
Yeah, you've got the link. I don't.
Oh,
yeah, and it really goes a long way to showing that this isn't a John Wick style firearms fantasy movie.
No.
This is for real. It's not common. There aren't many people who can shoot like that with iron sights. But Matthew Quigley is not a fantasy character in the sense that nobody could do that in real life.
Yeah, and I'm going to be one of those people that has, I'm really good with open sights with certain weapons, but some of them I'm not so good with. But in electronic form, I can't shoot iron sights at all. I have to, like when I'm playing like Call of Duty or any of those, I have trouble with them. And so I always use ACOGs or other sighting system. The dot system helps me. But I've gotten a little better using iron sights in Call of Duty because Anima knows this. There's a little white dot at the center of my screen that I put in there. I learned you could do that. And it tells me where I'm looking at all times. And it taught me how to use their iron sights in the game. Oh, Teague is here.
Hello.
What's up,
Sorry I'm
Teague?
late.
No
What's
worries,
up,
man.
guys? Good to see everybody.
We have a red
Good to
shit
see you,
and an
buddy.
admiral.
We've got
Yeah.
it all covered. I'm an
Yeah,
admiral in a red shirt, so I can do both.
2 deck officers. So I'm going to go find that video real quick. You guys go ahead and keep talking. I'm going to find that video for us so we can watch it at the end.
The characterization of the rifle, the scene where Alan Rickman is fascinated by it, not when he first meets Quigley, calling it an experimental rifle with an experimental cartridge. It actually was, because everything I've been
It's
able to find
110 grain.
Yes.
45.
Well, 110 grains of black powder as a charge with a 45 caliber bullet. They only made one larger charge. They made a 45 120. And I don't want to know what either of those feels like going off, to be perfectly honest with you.
Nope.
But the thing is that I haven't been able to find out whether this was rimfire or centerfire. Obviously, all the modern ammunition is centerfire. Even in the Civil War, the large caliber carbines like the Spencer, the one that the Confederates called the damn Yankee rifle, you can load on Sunday and shoot all week because it had a 7-round magazine in the buttstock. Those are rimfires. So if this was a very early centerfire cartridge rifle, it would be experimental. It would be seen as that because most rifles weren't centerfire cartridge rifles. And this was a conversion because the Sharp started out as a percussion rifle. So it's not an unfair assessment of it, but as it turns out, that kind of showed the way for rifle cartridge technology from then until now. So it was a very effective prototype, if you will. And
yeah, I just pulled it up for you.
Yes.
So here's the video of the guy. I fast forwarded all the way to the point where he starts taking shots, because basically he just explains everything's
right.
The technical aspects of the weapon and what he's doing.
Mine's 45 120. He was using a 45 110. He had a 540 grain paper patch bullet, metallic cartridges. He said, "Well, I'm only using a 500 grain bullet, and it's not paper patched." Well, there'll do.
Yeah, he's wearing ear protection. Now
Good
there he
idea.
goes. He's checking the windage with the dirt. I've done that.
Are you
He's
certain
imitating.
you wouldn't like the bucket a little closer?
Nope.
3 seconds.
Certain Sean Connery couldn't do that.
3 shots, 3 hits. 3 seconds. Nope, 4 seconds.
The noise coming back, yeah.
So that's it. It's him
Yeah.
recreating the shots and proving that it could be done.
Yes.
And I thought that
And
was
his last
damn
shot,
cool.
you actually get to see from his shot to the target falling and then the sound coming back. So he wasn't doing it with the magic of editing.
I just forgot the name of that. Report. Getting the report back.
Yes.
And
yes.
because it was something, the first time I ever got shot at, it threw me because I heard something. I heard a zipping sound because it was a high-powered rifle, and so it was supersonic, and it makes a different sound, and it makes a snapping sound as it goes by. It pops when it goes by your head, and I heard that, and then about 3 seconds later, I heard the report, and when it's far away, it's like a sound.
Mm-hmm.
Sound. It's like, and you're like, I just got shot at.
Was that when your dad took you to the shooting range?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Don doesn't like this when I tell him
You
about
don't shoot
that.
at your own kid, for fuck's sake.
Were they
was
going after you
aiming-
because you're the medic, you think? Or were they being that evil, or they're just there firing at the group of you and you were the closest?
He
to the
was
bullet?
teaching
No,
him a
that
lesson.
was my dad. My dad was teaching me what it's. My dad was teaching me as a kid what it sounds like to get shot at, and to recognize the
Useful.
different kind of rounds. But the first time he did it, I got no warning. I just heard the zip pop and then the report. And I turned and looked back at my dad, and my dad's got a big shit-eating grin on his face. And I'm like, "You shot at me?"
She's scary.
Because I
It's
was nowhere
amazing.
near you, boy. I just wanted you to know what it sounded like. Okay.
God, I was figuring some crazy Taliban guy up in a tree.
No, we did get shot at one time. My platoon sergeant, Sergeant Eugene Tevez, he was bored, and he says, "I'll be back." He got out of the vehicle. He's an Army Ranger, and he got out of the rig. I'm the ambulance commander, so I'm driving, and he gets out, and I thought he was going out to pee. And what he did is he had unhooked the red cross on the side of our ambulance, because it's usually flap up, so you couldn't see it. He dropped it down. He says, "Let's go up here." And so he gets back in the rig. We go up on top of this little dune. Next thing you know, I start hearing pop sound on the vehicle, like rocks were hitting us. And I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" And then I heard the report, and I went, "Are we getting shot at?" And he's like laughing. I'm like, "Fuck you!" And I pulled off the hilltop.
Jeez.
He was crazy.
By the way,
bored.
Let's throw enemy fire to have some fun and kill some time.
by the way, we need to say hi to Sax.
Hey, fuck you, Kyle.
Here. What is up, brother?
I
Hello.
said,
Sherry.
Lovely Sherry is here. Hi, Sherry. Who
We
else?
love the lovely Sherry.
We have Lord Thoth in the audience.
It's
Yes.
snowing but in Queens, lovely Sherry. Be careful outside.
Oh man, it's shitty weather. Like Anima's getting snow too. It's just cold
Yeah.
as shit here. Dragon Ruse is here. What is up, Dragon? So that was a cool little video showing a couple of things here with Quigley, how he pulled off the shots, and he did it for real, and that's kind of cool. Yeah, Lord Thoth is elusive.
Gary,
Who's
I'm
more active?
beginning to understand how you became so well adjusted.
You'll never
Yeah, right,
understand how.
My dad took the Atari away for a week. Gary's dad shoots at him. So, let's just teach you a few lessons here about life.
That's freaked. I'm going
incoming
to tell you,
fire.
that freaked Don out. Don was not happy about that. He goes, "Your dad was an asshole." And I went, "You're telling me something I could have told you." That guy, when I told him off.
You know what, Gary? You reminded me of a story that I hadn't thought of in years. My grandfather used to have a beach house. Really, it was a shack, but it was well made. Down in Sandbridge, Virginia. 9 miles south of the nearest paved road. You had to drive on the beach. And he would go down there when he wanted to be alone. He took me down there. That's where he taught me to shoot. And I remember one day we went for a walk on the beach, and unbeknownst to me, he'd brought a 38 with him. And I'm walking along, head down, looking for seashells and stuff on the beach, and he pulled out the 38 and fired it in the air right behind me. And I think I went 3 feet in the air. I'd never heard a sound that loud in my life.
It can shock you the first time.
Yes.
Now, this is the place you're talking about, a place that's further south than Virginia Beach, right?
Oh yeah, it's between
What's
Virginia
everybody
Beach
again?
and the South and the North Carolina border. It's
Okay.
a wildlife refuge. They ran everybody out years ago, decades ago, because everybody there was squatters. They didn't own the property. They just built something or dragged a trailer.
I know
in
where it
or
is
whatever.
because I've driven over that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep, I've been down there.
and to protect the bird refuge behind it, because it's barrier beach.
Well,
they
just down
decided
from there is that state park.
Yes.
Right below it.
Yep.
And I've been there. It's a refuge. It is.
Actually, he was in front. He was between the refuge and the ocean. He was right down there.
Have you been down to what's it called? Oh my God,
Kill Devil Hill.
Not Kill Devil. It's where they would put the lantern on a horse. Nag's Head.
Nag's Head. No, I haven't been to Nag's Head.
Oh my God, Nag's Head. Something else. What they did in Nag's Head was they were land pirates, and they would put lanterns on horse heads and walk them up the beach to cause ships to beach.
Yes.
And scuttle. And they would go out there and raid the boats when they would crash.
Yeah.
And it got the name Nag's Head from that. I always thought that was crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And then Blackbeard's Island's down there. I've been there too. I love that whole area. But I'm I grew up in Virginia. What part of Virginia were you from?
My mother's from there. Norfolk.
Norfolk, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're from Virginia, you go Norfolk.
Yes.
They say it Norfolk.
Well, my relatives didn't.
Well, they didn't get the memo.
They didn't. Well, they probably couldn't read. Most of them probably couldn't read. And I'm joking about that. I'm just giving them crap because they gave me a lot of it because I was a damn Yankee. My relatives in Virginia didn't know damn Yankee was 2 words until they were 11 years old.
When I first moved there and I started delivering a newspaper, I was 11, and I went to go collect from this one lady. I would end up, ironically, taking care of her when I became a nurse. Mm-hmm. And she was a sweetheart. But when I was a kid, I was terrified of her because the first time I went to collect from her, she opened the door and I said, "Hi, ma'am, I'm here to collect for the newspaper." And she threw her cane at me and hit me with it. Wooden cane. Hit me with that fucking thing and called me a goddamn Yankee. And I would send some of my friends to collect from her from that point. I would not go to her door. I was terrified of that lady.
That should be a proud moment in your life.
I don't know what to call it other than the fact that I was terrified of that old lady. I was scared to death of that lady. Man.
That's why whenever I meet anyone from down south, they're like, "Where'd you go to high school?" And I always it's not true, but I always say, "Oh, I went to William Tecumseh Sherman High School. Our team's called the Barn Burners. Where'd you go to high school?"
Gary, she was
started as you mean to go on.
What? I didn't hear you, Shinatsky.
I said she was preparing you for Anima. That's all.
Oh. Anima, I'm certain will never hit me with a cane.
No, she will throw cats at you.
Although I could see her kicking my cane out from under me.
They got their hands on an awesome boat here. I mean, this is not a miniature, right? This is like a working,
it's a real one.
Yep.
There's a lot of practical effects here. In fact, I'll point it out here.
CGI is there?
We can pause it in a moment when I catch it, because there are several matte paintings used at the beginning of this film right here. Yep. Those boats in the background are matte paintings.
A lost
Those
art.
aren't really there.
Look how
who painted those though?
I will look it up real quick.
A genius? Short answer. A genius.
Well, there are very few people that were actually really good at it, and there was one particular family that worked a lot with Disney that did matte paintings, and they were incredible.
And probably like 3 guys locked in the basement of the Lucas Ranch, or the Skywalker Ranch. It's like, no, you can't leave. Can't share you with the other directors.
Well, I think only one of them's left alive. I mean, it was a father and a son. The son had worked on Return of the Jedi, definitely.
Okay.
He did some matte paintings for Return of the Jedi.
We missed one. It didn't pop in. It's a shot where they show the township, and in the background you see the prison or military base. I don't know which one it is.
Why does Quigley go down under? He just prefers to be around people
because things are tough. No, things are tough in the U.S. for cowboys. Yes. So he got an offer to come all the way over to Australia to shoot varmints.
He answered an ad in the newspaper.
That's
So basically, it's rewound time for his way of life. He's like, now I can live out my life the way I want. I just have to leave America.
Right.
Yep.
I guess he could do with a change of scenery as well as a new job.
Also, the bib shirt that he has, I'm going to buy one of these. They are available. You can get those shirts. And
I've always loved those.
They don't make I can't find one yet made for my size because I'm a gigantic. Well, like him, he's like 6'4",
6'4".
Yeah, 6'4". I'm 6'3".
They actually they made 3 rifles for him for this film, and they were all custom made to the specifications of the film, right down to MQ.
Yeah, by the company.
Yeah, by the company, and they were made with an extra long stock because he's so tall and has such long arms. They're not standard size.
Do you know if they did that for Sean Connery for the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
I don't know that, but that movie's so bad, I wouldn't be surprised if they made him use something they bought at
It's
Sears.
bad, but he's good in it.
He is good in it.
Yeah.
He is good in it, but that movie has so many problems.
Because let me tell you something. Nobody.
That is the best description.
It's like nobody can say this line like Sean Connery. Well, that was naughty.
Yes.
You know what's so weird about Extraordinary Gentlemen is that both Connery and Stuart Townsend were supposed to be in Lord of the Rings. Connery didn't want to go to New Zealand and just dropped out, but Stuart Townsend showed up and he was just like tanked all the time and having too much fun. And Peter Jackson was like, I think I'd rather have my troublemaking character out of here. And he called up a friend and he's like, it was the director of Crimson Tide, and he's like, there's this guy who only had a small role in my movie, but he's awesome. His name's Viggo Mortensen. Check him out. And he's like, I don't have time. Just fly him out here. And that's how that happened.
That's great.
Oh, I just thought they fired him because he looked too young to be Aragorn.
They said he was coming to work. He may not have been intoxicated at work, but he was torn down and he had a partying attitude that they didn't like catching on to the rest of the crew is the implication. He won't, Jackson himself won't even name him. So he doesn't want anything to do with it. It was a bad experience, I suppose, for him. It's like, here I am ready to make my movie. And this guy shows up wasted.
What's up, poor monkey?
Laura San Giacomo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
great actor.
My God, he was adorable.
She was.
Gary was drooling all the time while we watched that movie.
I don't like doing that in front of you, but the fact is my God.
She's on Just Delete Me as well, right? We can't say the real name because of the way YouTube is.
Yeah.
He said it already.
Yeah, he said it already.
Delete?
What?
Oh.
No. That's the aphorism.
Just phaser me.
Yeah, that's the nice way of putting it.
Well,
okay.
I mean, Selleck's work is incredible. He's always good in almost everything he's in. So this isn't really the first Western. He's one of the few actors that you could say was born to be in Westerns.
Yes.
Absolutely. Or to play a baseball player. Mr. Baseball is not the most serious baseball movie, but it's really fun.
I do like that movie.
Isn't he great in it? Isn't he great as the arrogant New York Yankee who has to learn to play humbly in Japan and learn to respect the game before he can succeed? I love that movie. I look forward to that every spring when they play that.
You know,
I'm a big fan of that film.
One thing I can definitely say about him is that if they had had the technology back then, he would have been near perfect to play John Carter in the 80s.
Yeah.
It just keeps going through my year that going through my mind that in the same year, he was replaced by Harrison Ford, prompting them to replace Sean Young. And, we have Harrison Ford and Sean Young pop up in Blade Runner the same year anyway. It's just, the truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah, it is.
Although it wouldn't have worked as well in Raiders, obviously, for a bunch of reasons.
Well, you know that he was. I'm blanking here. Tom Selleck was the first choice for Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, Indiana.
Right.
Indiana Jones, and couldn't
And
do
we
it
would have a
because of
whole
his
different outlook.
yeah.
His contract with CBS for Magnum PI.
Magnum PI prevented it. It's kind of like, you know, we didn't get Pierce Brosnan as Bond until he was done with TV.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
CBS
NBC.
contract.
Now, I
CBS
paused for this
contract
scene.
prevented it. Sorry,
Yeah.
the CBS contract prevented it because they had another writer's strike and production happened at the wrong time because
Yep.
Harrison Ford had turned down that role. And he even said to George Lucas, I'm not your Bobby De Niro, and I don't want to do it.
Wow.
But he ended up doing it. So I paused this scene because this is one of my favorite moments, his interaction with this British officer.
Mine too.
Time. Yes. This sets the tone.
I just love what a nonconformist he is, because I love nonconformists.
Well, he's from the American West. That's the mentality.
And he's going
Yeah.
to do well matching wits against these guys who have the worst assignment in the entire British Empire. You know what I mean? There's
Yep.
a lot of places they'd rather be serving.
We skipped a line there, but one of my favorite
Yeah,
lines in the
it's
film is
missing.
in that scene. Yeah, he
Yeah,
says,
well, it's where he says something about getting the riffraff. He goes, "Well, we drove the riffraff out of our country back to England,"
yeah,
and then he spits.
In my mind, the Americans are barbarous misfits that should be run out of their
That
own
was it,
country.
misfits.
And Selleck spits as well. Well, Lieutenant, Major, we already run all the misfits out of our country. Spits. We sent them back to England.
Yeah.
The thing is, the humor in this is not forced, but I found myself rewatching this the other day, just laughing again at the funny moments in this movie. And it has quite a few of them. It's a very well done combination of humor and drama. It's a mixture of the two. And it's a lot like real life. When things go to shit, you get two choices. You can cry or you can laugh. And here, most people try to laugh. So it works.
Also, this seems to have like some of the biggest amount of the
Hold on a
Selleck
second,
stash.
Teague. Can I read what you wrote privately?
No, don't tell anybody.
Okay, because that's fucking cool, dude.
Yes, it is.
It's kind of cool.
What do you mean
We
kind
can
of cool?
talk
That's
about it for a
fucking
minute
cool.
later. Yeah, we can talk about it a little more later.
You know, I enjoyed everything that Selleck did with the Sackets. That was just amazing stuff. And for people out there who have no idea what I'm talking about, you're lucky, because to watch that stuff, it's just amazing. Just amazing stuff.
Oh, she's so cute.
Yeah.
Look at her.
I like the line, when do we get to Marston's place? We've been riding on his land for the last 2 days. Gives you a sense of the scale and how empty the outback is at this point. Especially since it's
Miles
southwest.
and miles of nothing.
It is. But there's another phrase for it, but I won't say it on your channel.
Why? We allow profanity.
It's wall-to-wall fuckable. Yeah,
Is there
this is
any
Western
movie-
Australia. This isn't even the civilized part of Australia back in the 19th century. This is Perth and the other, it's where he actually landed. North
Botany
of that is
Bay.
Exmouth Gulf. I mean, it's just, this is the frontier for Australia. This really was. The middle was uninhabitable for the most part at this time. You couldn't supply it. But yeah, this is about as far from civilization as you could get in Australia in the late 1800s. And it's just amazing. That's one thing I want to say. The cinematography in this, the scenery, it's gorgeous. There it is.
They filmed on location, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why Alan Rickman took the job. He says, "Oh, it'll be a chance to visit Australia."
Great in this as always.
Oh,
And he chews the dialogue. I love that about Rickman when he delivers his spiteful lines and things. Nobody can deliver a line like him.
no. And I think
that's a really cool death in the end.
And I love his villain in this compared to Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, because Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, I thought he was overacting to a ridiculous degree, chewing the scenery.
Well, some of the dialogue was goofy, like, why a spoon, cousin? Why not a knife? Because it would hurt more.
Because it will hurt more.
Yeah.
And then when he kills him later, he goes, be thankful I didn't use a spoon.
Right. And that was goofy. Here he plays just right up to the limit of being unbelievable.
Cheesy, right.
And cheesy, yes. And doesn't quite cross over the line, which is absolutely perfect because it sets him up as the black. Here we go. White hat versus black hat. This is classic Western. The good guy's wearing a white hat, literally. And the bad guy's wearing a black hat. I mean, it couldn't make it any more on the nose.
The one thing I would say, we've reversed the shots here, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So Quigley would be coming from left to right, as is shown in most movies to be the correct person, right? And I guess this is Rickman's only his second movie. There's no time for him to do anything else after Die Hard.
Yeah. He came right off of Die Hard and did this.
So any little, foibles in his acting, like this is brand new to him. It's like, I've got this new thing called acting. I prefer it to hack driving. Whatever it is he did before this. I mean, I'm guessing he played Shakespeare on stage, but he's great.
Yes. And he was hired for this because he was the villain in Die Hard.
That's just an average movie. Bruce Willis is great in it, but I think that's an average movie without Rickman. I think he puts it over the top.
I agree.
Let's see. Rickman's stage was 1976, so he had about 12 years of theater before he went to movies.
Right. Okay. I would imagine a lot of Shakespearean stuff. Not a lot of modern theater. Maybe something like I don't know. His delivery of dialogue is so great. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to like elocution school as well.
Let's see. Sherlock Holmes, The Devil is an Ass. Would
he be Moriarty or is he Sherlock?
He was Sherlock Holmes in his first.
I would so prefer him as Moriarty because of what we know now, but he'd be a good Sherlock.
He did Hamlet as Hamlet.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
He's going toe to toe with American TV legend right there on screen, and he's not losing anything in that really well framed shot.
No,
the cinematographer on this really knew what they were doing.
And by the way, that kid on the right there, you know who that is? The one he was just talking to. That's right.
That kid's name was
Young
Green.
Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh wow.
Redhead, no less.
And here's this is the line where he confuses Rickman's character. And it's a mistake that Rickman will regret later, his misunderstanding. Never had much use for pistols.
That's one of my favorite scenes when he gets shot and is all confused. I said I never had much use. I didn't say I didn't know how to use them. That was great.
Yeah, that's my favorite setup. This is the setup for my favorite payoff in a movie. Never seen much use for one. And Rickman and his character takes that exactly the wrong way.
Well, you have to say he's working with idiots. So
yes.
Ryan Johnson,
idiots in his eyes.
This is successful subversion right here.
This is why he takes everything literal.
Yes. Because
he's surrounded by idiots. And he just puts him into the same category, and he clearly is not. He knows what he's doing.
And that proves to ultimately be his downfall.
Yep.
He's just so full of himself and convinced he's better than anybody else.
Oh, he is. I mean, there's no question that all the way through this, Alan Rickman does a wonderful job of playing an absolute egomaniac.
Yeah.
Who is convinced that he is smarter. He is always the smartest, most capable person in the room.
Narcissistic asshole.
That's what he is.
He doesn't realize that the only reason
I have
he's
no
the smartest
filter. You should know that.
The only reason he's the smartest guy in the room is because you have to really seriously F up to end up here or get left behind by the times. I mean, we're talking about what, the 1911 cult, and we see Tom Selleck is living more of an 1870s, 1880s lifestyle. These people are, you know, like Alan Rickman's the smartest guy in the room because everyone else kind of underachieved their way there.
Exactly.
Well, it was a penal colony. And the people who went there who weren't guards or prisoners were people who couldn't make it in England.
Right.
So they headed for Australia thinking, well, maybe I can manage it there. And it's a country with a very complicated birth. I've read a history of it. And wow, strange.
You're saying that when London sent them their prisoners, they weren't sending them their best?
No, but they weren't sending, but their best didn't follow them there either.
Well, it was also a punishment for soldiers to be sent there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that was a punishment detail.
Going there.
It's like, no one came back from you, but you, it's okay. We got a ship right to Perth for you. You'll be fine. We believe everything you say.
Sharp's Rifle TV movies kind of went into that the way when there's an episode or one of the films where I think it might be the first one where one of the officers is a coward and tries to lie and blame another officer, and the guy in charge is like, I'm not falling for this because I know that officer and I know you're full of shit, and he gave his life, and he punishes the other guy by sending him to a certain place. And it's like it wasn't Australia, but it was pretty damn close to being sent to Australia where he got sent as punishment.
A British Commonwealth area?
Mm-hmm.
Probably the Northwest Territory of India.
I think it was India being sent. By the way, Keith was trying to join us,
Guinea.
apparently. I didn't know that. And he's got a bad signal, so he wasn't able to join us.
Well, he was here for a bit.
I didn't know that. I didn't hear him pop in. So I'm going to pause it here for a second to go over something that that Red Shirt sent, and I've got it right here. Boom, boom, boom. There it is. So the film itself is not up to the contributions of its stars. A little more thought would have helped from the quilting bee music that plays during the. Oh my God, I'm so annoyed with this review. Fight scenes to the fallacy of the talking killer. This is the movie that has been created by the numbers. The fallacy I refer to, of course, is the frequent mistake of allowing the bad guy to, he means monologue. He has his enemy trapped. There's no way out. This is a trope, and it's a working trope. It works. It helps to move a story forward. It's not a device. It's a trope. So he has his enemy trapped. There's no way out. All he has to do is plug in between the eyeballs, order lunch. But no, he talks and talks. So, and you brought it up earlier, that great moment in the Incredibles where the villain goes, "Oh, you got me monologuing."
Exactly. That's the Incredibles. That's Pixar making fun of the fact that this is a movie trope. And when we get to the scene, I've got something to say about why that this review misses the boat completely on that part of the movie, that whole segment, final showdown between Quigley and Marston.
The funny thing there is the blurb on the back of the Blu-ray, which is attributed to Roger Ebert, makes it sound like he liked this movie. So go figure.
2.5 out of 4 stars.
You're talking about this one?
He always found a way to get his quote on the poster. He'd be like, "This terrible movie has some of the most beautiful cinematography I've ever seen."
This is.
Can you show the
this
back?
is. I have the back on my screen. What I have up in.
I didn't know.
What I have up in the screen share is the 4K is coming out in March. It was announced today.
Wow.
Yeah.
I own the Blu-ray. I may have to buy that.
Yeah, me too.
I may have to just go ahead and pull the trigger and buy that.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm not buying digital media anymore. I'm done with it. I'm going back to just buying physical media again because.
Well, we've learned. We have been shown.
I had a movie re-downloaded on me. I had it happen to me. It happens to be a better version of the one I had, but it happened. So, I mean, it's not always going to go my way.
Well, Amazon successfully argued in court that if they wind up with a licensing problem with a streaming video that you've bought, that you don't get to watch it anymore because they have to take it down. So you're not buying digital media. You are leasing it until they can no longer, for whatever reason, show it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I will not pay, $14 or $15 or $20 for a movie that I don't know how long I'm going to own it. It'd be like I went out and I bought a car and one day the dealership showed up and took it back. That's not happening. So yeah, our first example of Quigley shooting where it matters. And the guy knows he's better get out of range, and he can't. There's no way those horses are going to pull that thing.
Why he's sitting up in that seat, I don't know. I would have gotten low.
Yes, yeah. I'd have been riding one of the horses.
Exactly.
Here's the thing, though. That quote cliche, is like it often does serve a character purpose. More importantly, I'll take that kind of writing over this let's subvert everything garbage.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, this whole interaction shows how much of an idiot people need to be to work for him in the first place. Because the first guy goes back for the goal, which is obviously a trap, painfully obviously a trap. And the second guy just doesn't bother to take cover while he's driving the car away. They are morons.
Well, now they're in for it.
She looks like a doll next to him. She's so tiny, and he's
Yes.
so gigantic.
God.
She looks
She's
like a
so
doll in
cute.
those dresses.
Yeah, the only thing I remembered her from before this was in Pretty Woman. She plays Julia Roberts' roommate friend.
That's where I saw her first, too.
Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
I never seen that movie, never wanted to.
I think I actually saw her in the Stand miniseries before I saw this movie the first time.
Was she in that?
Yes.
She was, yeah. She was the
Yes,
crazy
she
one,
was.
Nadine. Yeah.
That's.
I got to go
was
back
the
and
first
watch
time
that. I
saw
don't
her.
remember that. I do not remember that.
But yeah, this is about as serious as it gets. 2 days away from anything in the middle of the outback in Southwest Australia. Yeah, your odds aren't good. And he almost leaves her. Then he's like, "No, I can't."
Well, she annoys him because she's so crazy.
She does, but this is where we see, this is a perfect example of Matthew Quigley, honorable man, has a system of right and wrong. He doesn't violate. No matter how exhausted he is, and no matter how irritating she is, he goes back and picks her up and carries her.
He also knows that there must be a reason behind her being crazy, and we get to know her backstory, and it's bad. It's tragic, and the way he reacts to it, he suspected something like that. So he can't just leave her because she's crazy, as annoying as she is. But
right,
you
but she's
always
a human
do
being.
the right thing.
Yeah, he does the right thing. She's a human being. No matter how much she irritates him, he's not going to leave her there to die. He does leave somebody else to die. Well, he offers to let him, but that's because he has a very different attitude towards him. But that's later in the film. But yeah, this is great because Marston is expecting the redcoats to bring in 2 bodies. They're just not the 2 bodies he expects.
That's when he first realizes what he's up against. And I
Yes.
think he's a little scared now.
Oh, he's scared. Marston's a coward. We'll see that too, proven absolutely beyond a shadow of a doubt later in the film. Marston is an abject coward.
He's hiding behind his army of idiots.
Yes. But yeah, so the Aborigines rescue them.
Hey, Zakharot's here. What's up, buddy?
The one thing they don't explain in the movie, but I attribute it to, it's what in Africa would be called the bush telegraph. The word goes out amongst the Aborigines, starting probably with Marston's butler, that this is not your average white man. This is not the same as the British.
Oh, it has to be the butler who starts it.
Yes.
He witnesses it all, and he hates being there. He's a slave. You see that when he leaves.
Yeah, but but he's the one who knocks him out.
Because he had to. Because he knew he would have get beat up or killed if he.
Oh, he would have been killed.
Orders. Yeah, he had no.
But
choice.
by giving him to them, he gives him a chance. And it's a slim chance, but there's no chance if he goes up against all of those guys with his rifle. He's not going to survive. So the butler knocks him out. And it's an act of kindness.
He's a wise man.
Yes, he is. More than likely something that came out of a south end of a northbound kangaroo.
Yeah.
Some great lines in this movie.
There are. But this is where the relationship between them really starts, because he saved her and they saved both of them. And then they have to eat the grubs.
The buildup of him. Stop calling me Roy.
Yes.
My name's Matthew. Not Matt. Matthew. My name is Matthew.
Yep.
And it
he
has
can't
a great
help liking
payoff.
her.
And it's got such a great payoff in the end. In that final scene.
Yeah.
You have the great build. Oh, I love it. They're teaching him how to throw the spears. And I do like the spears do kill one of the guys later.
Yep. Yeah, and he teaches them how to braid hide to make a lariat. So there's a cultural exchange going on here.
Anima's like, look, Gary, your boobs. And I'm like, this is like watching,
This is different, yeah. That's
a nature magazine. It's just it's not the same thing. Now, if Laura took her top off, I'm right there.
If she did that,
You're right.
you would have to put a certain person's face over it.
That's right. I would. Yeah, this is like National Geographic.
Yeah,
this is like a National Geographic from the 60s.
Yep.
Doesn't need to be censored. Even YouTube can handle that.
But now there's a rapport developing. They understand the Aborigines better. The Aborigines have saved them. So this is where the alliance, I think this is where the alliance is really born.
Yep.
Previously, Quigley refused to, kill people as vermin. But now he really sees them as people.
That is her telling him how she accidentally killed her baby and was sent to Australia by her husband, Roy.
And there's a setup with that. And it's coming right up here if we get the thing. If we get the text of the line.
That she was so terrified she just tried to cover her baby's mouth and in the process smothered him to death.
Right. But it's when her husband, Roy, leaves her at the boat.
Yep.
And rides home.
Well, he puts on the first boat available.
It hasn't come up yet. I don't know. Hopefully we'll get the line.
It should be coming up anytime.
I can assure the line is there, and it's a shame because it sets a good payoff.
Yes, it does. It's a set.
And
It's
there it
another
is.
of this.
You just had it.
Nope.
I can't have a woman.
No, that's
that
not
would
it.
choose her
It's
life.
he never looked back. I know
Yes.
because I watched.
Well,
that's the setup.
That is why when he leaves her to his final battle, he stops and turns back to look at her.
Yes.
That's right. That's exactly the difference between.
And
Roy
that's
and
when you
Matthew.
know that is not the last time they see each other. He just wants to make sure she's okay in case he dies, because he is prepared for everything. But he manages to survive. And so, of course, they see each other again.
And we're at the top of the hour. And again, this movie did have an impact because the way Tom Selleck is in this movie to how John is in Vindicated. And I will tell you that even though he lost his wife and child in an accident that he feels responsible for, because she went to read a text in my book, Vindicated Inc. His wife goes to read a text from him as he's going off to the mission when he lost his leg. And when she looked to see the text, she has the accident flipping the car, and the car has a weird accident where fuel goes all over the vehicle, and it catches fire, and they're burned up, his wife and unborn child. And so I like broken, tragic characters and people who have a lot of guilt for reasons that are outside their control. I, for one, Catholic, Irish Catholic, so I suffer from horrible guilt over everything. And so I like my characters and so Tom Selleck's performance in this film really had an impact and influence on my Vindicated character, John, in my graphic novel. And with that, I hope you have it set up, Martin.
Yes.
All right.
Meet the Seattle Vigilante. Like so many comic heroes, this warrior hides his identity. But his identity isn't the only secret he has to keep. After grievous wounds received during combat, Tier 1 operator John Russell begins to recover and comes to terms with his new reality of being an amputee. And as he learns how to use his new prosthetic limb, he finds himself caught up in the bureaucratic red tape that too many wounded veterans experience, the exhausting medboard process. Out of sheer frustration, John takes it out on the criminal scum of the city. But when reality kicks in, John realizes he started something that's having an impact on the greater world around him, and thus has to reevaluate his motives. And moreover, just how far is John willing to go to finish this war he's declared against the criminals in Seattle? And will he even survive? From the creator of IDW's award-winning graphic novel Code Word Geronimo comes a new story about a different kind of warrior, Vindicated Inc., the first of its kind disabled veteran action hero comic. The Vindicated Inc. graphic novel crowdfunding campaign on fundmycomic.com is provided in the description of this video. We hope you become a contributor. Please share this link. Thank you.
There we go. Hope everybody is enjoying that and not getting tired of it.
Oh, no.
Tall in the saddle. I always like those heroes. I do, because a lot of my friends are broken. And I tend to like to be around people that need to talk and talk about serious things and not just frivolous crap. I get so bored with people that just want to talk frivolous crap.
Nothing worse than small talk.
I hate it.
Me too.
I used to refer to it, the people in my life need to be all about the morrow of life. And those are the characters I like. Selleck's one of those guys. A lot of people don't know. Yes, he served in the military. He served in the U.S. Army National Guard. Kurt Russell, Tom Selleck, I think. Oh my God, I just forgot two of the other actors that served in the same unit. Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott served in the same unit. Thank you, Lady V. As an empath, I'm able to give energy, not just create my own. And it's one of the things that's benefited me in the medical field is I'm actually helpful to helping people feel better.
And as an energy vampire, I appreciate it.
That's why I limit our time together, you dick.
Fuck you, Gary.
God, I love the cinematography in this.
You know I have to do this.
You should not.
Yeah, it needed to be done.
You just hover over that every show, Martin, waiting for your opportunity. It's the only thing that works.
Oh, it's Anima too. Anima loves that thing.
Selleck, we have to use that thing so often that we find it in our sleep. It's muscle memory, you know?
Yeah, but you guys
actively
need to stop
look for it.
calling me in the middle of the night going, fuck you, Shinatsuki. Like, I know. Thanks.
By the way, there's this new movie coming out. I have not watched it yet. I don't know if it's any good. Race for Glory, Audi versus Lancia.
Oh, yeah.
It should
I
be.
do want to see that.
It should be if they tell it well. Because Lancia,
I've got it added to my queue.
Yeah, Lancia was the last successful
Lancia?
rear-wheel drive rally
Lancia
in Italian. And Audi had come out with their all-wheel drive. They started all-wheel drive in professional rallying. And the Lancia took an Italian approach. And it's either Top Gear or Grand Tour did a wonderful historical film about it.
Top Gear did it.
Top Gear did it.
Yeah.
And
this is the Ford versus Ferrari of the rally world.
Exactly. It's Ford versus Ferrari rallying. And if they tell it well, it'll be a hell of a story. That's all I'll say. I haven't heard much about it, but it should be good.
It is in my queue. Now, I just watched Gran Turismo.
Yeah, good
and
one.
Oh my fucking God, I love that movie.
Yeah, guess what? It's on our list too.
There's another expression of wait a minute. There's another expression of Marston's ego. You think I'll ever be as fast as you, Mr. Marston? What? If you practice a lot? Yeah. No.
You're doing a pretty good Alan Rickman there, my friend.
Thank you.
True, yeah.
I do have to admit, I admire your tenacity.
I love the Scotsman. He's always careful. He's a very careful character.
Yes. If we're lost, you can tell me. We're lost.
That's a fun dialogue they're having.
It is.
You could say the Scottish is the only non-complete idiot of the gang.
Yes. It won't save him in the end, but he's more cautious than anybody else.
He's probably
she's
a little
hugging
less
on him.
idiot.
Yeah, this is
this is the cliff scene. Yeah, this one's good to me.
That's disturbing.
It is disturbing, and
it is
no humor.
Far from the truth. It is,
and there is no humor in it at all.
That is why it is so disturbing. Shit like that happened, and I don't
There's
understand
another film you
how
should
human
watch.
beings can do that to other human beings.
There's another film you should watch, historical film I really like a lot, is The Rabbit Proof Fence.
Oh,
the way the Aborigine were treated is just god awful.
And Peter Gabriel's soundtrack for that one.
Yes, he did. It was a very good soundtrack. That film and Birdie are two of my favorite soundtracks by Peter Gabriel. Oh, third one, The Last Temptation of Christ. Peter did the soundtrack for that too. There's a song on there.
Look who's here.
Hey,
Gary.
Connie's Cleary. Yeah, Connie Cleary.
Connie.
Hi. You like to think this is a prequel to Die Hard? Now, I got to tell you, the way if it was Bruce Willis playing the cowboy, it would really work.
Yes.
Oh God, the kid's dead. Oh my God, and he's been gut shot. This is a good scene. You've been gut shot. You ain't gonna live.
What do you think's going to get you to first?
He says,
he
brings up the ants.
Yeah.
Well, he does, but he also mentions the second time he says, I'm new around here. What do you think will get you first, the dingoes or the ants?
And the way he talks to him here, that's exactly how John talks to someone before he kills them.
Absolutely. The scene where John has just stuck a guy in his just under his collarbone with his knife, threw it and stuck him.
Number one favorite scene.
And he's just sitting there, goes, "Oh, damn it!" And we named the character Gary, because they, the guy that was helping me write the scene thought it'd be fun if we named the character Gary. So I went, "Okay, I'll stick with it."
Gary though.
And he delivers the line, "Gary, it is just not your day."
I love that scene so much.
I've hit you in the subclavian artery with that knife, man. Man, you're gonna bleed out in like 6 minutes. Unless I do this, and he pulls the knife out. Now you'll bleed out in 3. And he actually does it. He pulls the knife out and he goes, now you're going to bleed out in 3. Answer my questions and I'll help you. But he doesn't help him because when you see the next scene, you kind of understand through his dialogue, he let him die because he's a scumbag. He's a guy that likes girls underage.
And begging him to help him. Such a scumbag. Yeah. Piece of shit.
Enough about Bill Clinton.
And I do like the fact that I know, Bill. I never had sexual relations with that woman.
She's not suicidal.
Yeah, remember, I'm not suicidal, and I will not hang myself and be shot and shoot myself in the back of the head 6 times.
Yep. By the way, we have another person here that I just saw that popped in. I'm going to make sure that's you're not saying something at that person. Yep, there. The Basco scenario is here. So welcome to the show. I hope everybody's having a good Saturday. We are watching the slideshow for Quigley Down Under, one of my all-time favorite Westerns ever made. And I put it in for the 20th century, 20th century. I have this listed in my top 20 favorite films of all time. Right up there with Tombstone. This and Tombstone are my 2 favorite Westerns. And this is a scene where you got 1 shot left. He's just looking right down that barrel. You got 1 shot left. Use it wisely. Mm-hmm. I love it. You use it the way you think you should.
Hello, Lady
Mist. Lady Mist is here.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hello, Lady Mist.
We have 2 ladies now.
Lady V and Lady Mist. Oh, God,
Chad
she's
is
so
pretty
gorgeous.
Aristocratic. Oh, that baby.
This is where she rescues the baby.
And I like that.
The scene with the
blonde hair.
The scene with the dingoes is crazy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, because a lot of people don't know that some Aborigine are born with that genetic recess of blonde hair.
Yes. Some even have blue eyes, and it's the bluest blue imaginable. Like it looks unreal.
The lead gets all the ladies.
Well, you know I do.
Not me.
Well, you're spoken for.
Yes, I am.
Now, Laura is still working, but you hardly ever see her.
I haven't seen her in anything since Saving Grace.
She's been in a few things. She was on that show, The Good Wife. Quite a few things, but she's always playing bit parts. She's a leading lady, and that bugs me.
Maybe she doesn't want big roles at the moment.
I don't know. A lot of times they don't have a choice. It just happens.
Yeah. It's also
she's in the Gap Club.
Yeah.
That photo
Yeah,
proves
she
it.
is. Mhm.
I think gaps are sexy.
Well, she keeps busy. She's on the Santa Claus's TV series.
Is she in it? I have not watched it yet. I want to watch that.
You have to if she's in it.
yeah. But yeah, the schedule, if you're filming a movie or worse yet, you're making a television show, the shooting schedule tends to be pretty grueling. Plenty of actors have decided that's just too much. And she may do something here and there, but not commit to a major role.
I just think she is so beautiful, and I love her as an actress. I think she's hilarious.
She's a great actor, and she is gorgeous.
Great comic timing.
Yes. She was a great fit for this because, like I said, this movie has quite a lot of humor. Some people would call it dad jokes. I don't think so. I think it's situational humor.
The humor comes out of the dialogue, not from the situation. And
well, I don't know, a rifle butt to the nuts on the boat was pretty situational. In the very first scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's not forced. It's not jokes. It's not a punchline.
And he is he is an agent of karma. I will put that. I like characters who are agents of karma.
Oh boy, is he.
Now, Anima pointed out that the German family here are not German, so I went and looked it up, and they're Australian, trying to do German accents, and they're not
the
very
accent
good.
just sounded so fake. Even I.
Hers almost sounded French to me, to be honest. Specifically, she sounded Belgian.
Yeah, French or Dutch, something like that, but definitely not German.
She did not sound German, and the accent on the kid was just weird.
That's probably
exactly,
why
Lady V. I agree with you, and that's something that Laura San Giacomo has. She does not have to put makeup on. She's just naturally just gorgeous.
Yeah,
she has a face undeniable Italian.
Yes.
Yeah, she also has a very low forehead hairline, which is also very Italian. Meaning the gap between the top of her nose to the widow's peak is very short, very small, which is typical of Italian women. Young fellow, where'd you get that saddle?
It's always the saddle that gives everything away. You notice that?
Yep.
No, it's a very
Every
personal
time.
thing. It's a very personal thing.
Yeah, but
you know, you can get another horse, but saddles, you get used to it. What little riding I've done, the people I know who ride, they have a favorite saddle. That's the one they want to use.
A saddle is like shoes. You have to break it in.
Exactly.
Both the horse and the rider. So you don't want to lose that.
Yeah, but I would try to keep it as customized as little possible.
Am I the only one hearing an echo?
No, I'm hearing it too.
Okay.
Yeah, what she uses is like foundation and the contouring makeup to basically blend naturally in. But yeah, I know. I've been around women my whole life, and I like to having women in my life that didn't wear the makeup that looked like they were wearing makeup. I like them when they wear makeup that makes it look like they're not wearing makeup.
That's the best way to do it. That's how it should be done.
What did you next to bareback? I would never ride a horse bareback.
I have. It's
I
fun.
say that I did it as a kid too. I rode on a blanket and it was horrible.
Yeah, I rode straight bareback, and I did what I was. I thought I had just fallen off. I was told I did a marvelous flying dismount.
Flying dismount.
Well, I rode bareback, and I also did gymnastics on horseback, where you just have this very thin mat and a belt with grips because you need them sometimes. So I think that's pretty awesome. I like being close to the horse.
I got thrown. I've been thrown once, and I had a horse that was mentally retarded. Horses with phobias are called mentally retarded because there's something wrong with them. And mine had a phobia of holes. And if it saw a shadow that looked like a hole, it would rear up. And it did one day, and it threw me when it did. It knocked the wind out of me. I hit my back, landed flat on my back, and just knocked the wind out of me. I was like this.
I had a stupid horse like that once, and I was just learning how to jump obstacles on a horse. And the third or fourth obstacle, the horse just wasn't having it and stopped dead in front of that thing. And I flew over it. And my teacher just said, "Yeah, that was a good jump. Next time, try it with a horse."
Hey, Venkman's girl's
Hey,
here.
Venkman's girl's here. Yep, Venkman's girl. What's up?
Hi,
She does not like makeup either. I have a thing. I don't like being kissed with lipstick. If a woman has lipstick on, I don't like it. I'm like, dab it dry. This grosses me out. I've taken care of horses, a lot of animals. I lived on farms, but my favorite was when my ex-girlfriend, who I'm still good friends with, Patty, she and I would board horses on the farm, and we had like 6 dogs on the farm. It was great. We lived on 60 acres. It was nice. And I love horses. They're beautiful animals, very intelligent. Although I do feel bad that one killed one of my dogs. Dog couldn't understand. You know, she kept wanting to play, and the horse was like, "I don't want to play." And it was a Malamute, and she got up under her hooves one day, and horse lifted leg up and just clopped it right on top of the head, killed it dead.
Petroleum lollipop.
I grew up next to one of New York's racetracks. I've groomed a couple of thoroughbreds to make a few bucks in my life as a kid. It's a pretty scary thing to do, to be honest. That's a large and imposing animal.
Yeah, they're the long, tall legs.
Yeah, the
and they can be a little aggressive.
All the horses I was around were quarter horses. I was always around quarter horses.
The name describes it all. They're very thoroughly bred. They don't have the benefit of like a very large DNA pool, and they can be a little mean and a little aggressive, but they're fast.
That they are.
Try wrapping one's tongue in leather. That's a lot of fun.
No thanks.
Yeah, Quigley gets down to business quickly here. I like that. Quigley gets quickly. It was so fun. I'm on Culture Casino last night, and I realized, oh my God, we share some of the same crowd. And I was just like saying hi to everybody I knew in the chat last night. It was fun.
Dude, I came here through him.
What's that?
I came here through him because I was watching a live stream and you were there. And I said, I'm gonna see this channel.
And he, I love that he said it because we've known each other for a while. We've been friends for a while. And he's been on the show a few times back in the early days, but he just doesn't have time anymore and also conflicting schedules. But he said it last night. He says, I really like hanging out with you. We need to do this again. I'm like, yeah, man, I miss hanging out with you. Good times.
He's really cool as far as
people.
He seems like he's a really good guy. He ended up being on a lot of the same times I was. And you know what? Like, rather than take it as some kind of like threat, it was like, I realized he brings so many people to YouTube. A few of them enjoyed hanging out with me, and then just minimally over streaming, just getting out of there at the right amount of time. And you know what? I think it's been good for me that he's come on some of the days I'm on, and I like his content. I liked him before he was on at some of the same times I am. Although he's
I like
under the
way he
misconception.
formats his shows too. Oh, there's the dingo scene. The dingoes are
I need
all
him
dead.
to know this, though. I do not endorse New Track. I just consent to review it. He seems to think I like it. I can't live with that image.
Who can think that? I've seen the way you review it. There's no way you like it.
I don't think he's heard my show, but he's just like, I don't think he's going to like my views on New Track. And it's like, if you knew how I felt about New Track, you'd know I'd love your views.
He's a great guy. I got to meet him before the show briefly. He's great.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure to introduce you to, and he was very happy meeting you. He said something about it later, after the show. He says it was really nice meeting your girlfriend. She was really nice. I went, yeah, and she's pretty too. I knocked it out of the park, and I robbed the cradle with her too. It's like she's like younger. Like my God, I just I killed it. No,
jerk.
I know I'm a jerk.
Yeah, I met.
I love this
Dallas.
outfit, that hat, the bonnet. I love that.
Yeah. I met Culture in Dallas a couple of years ago.
He does that. He was talking to me about that. He goes, "We're gonna get together one day, dude." I said, I don't do that. But the fact is, when you say it, I wouldn't mind doing it. You know, people talk about, hey, let's get together. I'm like, I really don't want to do that.
Well, I will say a meetup, and I'm not good with crowds. So I spent a lot of time outside, but I did enjoy meeting some of the people.
Like they said, meeting up in Vegas, that just sounded awful to me. I'm just like,
Vegas is nuts. I mean, I don't like Vegas. I've been there.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's crazy. And that is definitely a crowd scene.
Yeah, I don't like people close to me, in proximity of me. It just weirds me out.
Yeah, I feel
it's
that.
called Howard Hughes disorder.
No, I suffer from OCD. I've got
I feel you there.
A revulsion for people touching me that I don't know. I don't like close proximity, people breathing on me. I'm so weird about so many things. I remember.
Question.
I got to tell you a funny story. My dad was being taken care of with a home health nurse, coming into the house once a day, every day, during the week, not on the weekends. And I got mad when I walked into his kitchen because his cabinet was so out of order. So I took everything out of the cabinets and I organized everything so you would know when you were out of something. And 2 days later, I came by to visit him, and he goes, well, the nurse got really angry and said, you're not allowed to touch the cabinets anymore. I'm like, she didn't like order? Who the fuck do you have working for you that she didn't like knowing when she's going to be out of something? But she really hated that I touched the cabinets. I straighten out towels for people, fold them for them. Even Dawn here, Scott's wife, finds it funny that I fold laundry, and I'm very neat about it. I do the military fold. Oh, she's gorgeous. Look at that hair.
When Gary folds a towel, you can bounce a quarter on it.
You definitely could with my bed. They did that. They really do that. They'll walk in and they'll bounce either a quarter or $50 off your bed.
Did you do that every day with your bed?
Yeah, I used to. I don't now.
Okay.
I don't need to. I don't make my bed. I get up and I just
I
do flip the blanket, comforter over top of it so it's smooth. I don't like a disorganized or cluttered bed.
Yep. Here's the moment.
He turns and looks at her, and she's, oh, look at that face. Look at her. What a scene.
Yep. There.
He's a soldier.
It is. It's a nostalgic movie.
He is a soldier. And my bet is that Quigley was a character who served in the military.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
His sense of honor, integrity, his training.
I wouldn't be surprised. Abilities. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if he was a veteran of Berdan's sharpshooters.
That would be interesting. We should do a follow-up story of Quigley. Get the rights to it.
Oh, yeah.
Because Quigley is a character that makes me mad to this day. We never got a sequel.
Yeah.
Did they put a pin in what year this is? I know they have the 1911 Colt. They mentioned that, so it's 1912 or later. But have we made it to World War One?
Yeah, it's turn of the century, before World War One.
Wait a minute. 1911. Who had a 1911 Colt?
No, that's not a 1911 Colt.
It's a Colt
no, that's
Peacemaker.
1964. Yeah, it's the pistol he's got is from the Civil War.
Okay.
It's the U.S. Army Colt with the octagonal barrel.
Yeah, I think this is
round barrel.
I've always considered this to be 1870s, 1880s at the latest.
That's where I took it, as close to the end of the 19th century.
I thought my take was like Gilded Age, 1890. It's like because there's not a lot of room for guys like him in America. He's a little past his time.
It's dying.
He hasn't made it
the
to
West
like
is dying.
1920. Right.
Yeah.
So I would say like well after the Civil War. Like we're getting into the Gilded Age. There's electricity on Pearl Street in Manhattan, and he's not liking the way America's going for guys like him.
That may be. I mean, the thing is that the cowboy, if you go back and look at like Young Guns, the Lincoln County Range War, one of the big things in the West was that early on there was open range for cowboys to drive cattle. Right. And as it went on and on, more of it became fenced off and farmed.
It was originally supposed to be the 1880s, guys. It was originally supposed to be the 1880s, but in the final draft, they changed it to be 1860s era during the Civil War.
That makes less sense.
It makes no sense to me.
No sense.
They wanted him to be locked in with a certain level of technology is the only thing I can come up with, because this movie works so much better if it's just about 1900, like the Wild Bunch, where they're stuck in time and they're like, our way of life was viable like 6 weeks ago. What the hell happened?
Well, the thing is that I don't know who decided to make that change, but the firearms are all perfectly period for the 1870s, 1880s, because the Sharps rifle he has was introduced in 1871. To put this during the Civil War, Sharps did not make a centerfire rifle. They made a percussion rifle. So it would have been a completely different Sharps rifle in the Civil War era. That does not make sense. That is an anachronism. And I've argued this before on a stream on a channel that doesn't exist anymore. This cannot be prior to 1871. Not with that rifle in it.
It makes so much more sense if he's in the same point of time as Butch Cassidy.
It absolutely needs to be the 1880s.
He needs a "Who are these guys?" kind of segment. This is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. His way of life is supposed to be passing away. Meanwhile, in the Civil War era, the meat of the cowboy era was ahead of him. We finally had revolvers that, were semi-reliable. I mean, before the Civil War, look at the handguns they had.
Right.
I think you had to rotate the barrel with your hand. You rotated the cylinder by hand, or you had a pepper box. These guys, we finally have all the tech we need to have a cowboy movie that's familiar to us, and they throw it back in time. What's another thing? Like now, Quigley's kind of a draft dodger who won't take sides in his own country's most important conflict.
Yeah, that's what it comes off as when you think about it. It's like, damn, dude. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So I will tell you that this was originally written in 1975.
In the 1870s or 80s, Quigley doesn't want to be part of the Indian Wars, and that makes sense when
that's fine.
When his response to Marston is, when Marston says something about, I believe your country's done something similar with your indigenous population, your Indians, and he says, yeah, well, that depends on whether you're an Indian.
The Civil War,
right? It has to be.
Yeah,
so I don't care what publicist
writer says.
Yeah, I don't care what Hollywood publicist decided this was during the Civil War. That's nonsense. Nothing in this movie makes sense that early.
He's fluked his way outside his own intent, and so therefore his statement about when it happens is only just so valid. That's what we're saying here.
Yeah, I want to point this out though. This is interesting trivia.
What a mistake!
Hill wrote the script for this in 1975. It was slated to be filmed in 1980, but was postponed and then eventually canceled because Steve McQueen became ill with cancer. Then Clint Eastwood was considering doing it, but then turned it down later. It was finally filmed in 1990 with Tom Selleck, so it took 15 years to get this film made.
And they actually asked Harrison Ford, and he said, no, it's too similar to Indiana Jones.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because that's not even mentioned here.
Harrison Ford was considered for the role and turned it down because he'd already done Raiders of the Lost Ark. And that's the irony, is that Tom Selleck was supposed to have done Raiders, and Harrison did it instead. Then Harrison was asked to do this movie, and Tom Selleck did it instead.
And by the way, Tom Selleck's response to Indiana Jones was High Road to China.
Yeah.
He hoped it would be his Indiana Jones film. It didn't work, even though I thought it was a fun film. I do like the film. Lassiter was a better film. I liked Lassiter.
Lassiter was fun.
You got fucking what's his name? The great British actor that was in Bob Hoskins in it.
Oh yeah, he's wonderful.
Bob Hoskins from Spice World, the great actor.
Yeah,
Bob Hoskins from
Spice
Who
World
Framed
was better
Roger
than
Rabbit.
Don't you say Spice World like it was shit. That was a good movie. No,
hey, it's related to A Hard Day's Night through having Bob Hoskins in it. So yeah, it's we're talking.
Bob Hoskins wasn't in Hard Day's Night. What are you talking about?
He's in at least one Beatles movie. I'm pretty sure.
Hold on,
I might have named the wrong movie. I might have named the wrong. I think that's why they wanted him in Spice World, because he had.
Let me go look this up. I know Phil Collins was in one of the Beatles movies. I did not know Hoskins was. I got to go find this out. That's crazy.
Speaking of Bob Hoskins, I love Mona Lisa. If you've ever
Mona
seen
Lisa
that.
is a great film, dude. Michael Caine, what a great movie.
Yeah.
Dark as fuck, man.
He was a great actor, Hoskins.
Yeah, it broke my heart when we lost him, man. And he was having all kinds of medical problems. He's in a movie that I've been wanting to watch with Anima for a while. Called Heartbeat?
Yeah, I might be wrong.
Where he's haunted by the ghost of Denzel Washington because he has his heart.
Yes, a heart condition.
Heart condition.
Chloe Webb from
from
Sid and Nancy is in it. She's the love interest. It's like the only other movie she's in aside Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, Hoskins doesn't have anything before 72.
Yeah, you're right. I looked. I'm sorry. My mistake.
You might be thinking of Phil Collins on that one.
I think I probably am.
The Long Good Friday is an also great film with Bob Hoskins. Gang movie. Oh, what a good film. But I'm trying to find it right now because
I'm just trying to figure out how he fits into Spice World. Well, I guess we know how he fits into Spice World.
There it is, Mona Lisa. 19 Tony Banks was involved with the music of that, and they used a Genesis song in it.
Wow, and he's in The Wall, Bob Hoskins. I don't remember him from that at all.
I don't either.
When he's overdosing and his manager comes in and is waking him up, that's Bob Hoskins.
Now, here is a movie that we will eventually do on here. This is a favorite film of mine, and not too many people have seen it. It's called A Prayer for the Dying with Bob Hoskins and Mickey Rourke. And you got Liam Neeson in there.
Liam Neeson.
What's her name from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? She played the German. Alison Doody is in it because they have a big Irish cast in this film. And, of course, Alan Bates is just amazing in anything he's in. What a great actor. I fucking love that movie, and it has one of the just toughest end scenes. Just a tough ending. I will be doing that show on this channel. I love Prayer for the Dying. And Mike Hodges directed that. Mike Hodges, you might know from films like Flash Gordon, Get Caught, The Terminal Man with George Segal, Black Rainbow, which is such a strange film. He directed that movie, Black Rainbow. Anybody see that movie?
No, but the title arguably makes no sense at all.
It's got Jason Robards, Tom Hulse, and Rosanna Arquette, man. I love Mike Hodges. He's a very good director. English, by the way.
Rosanna Arquette's pretty fun to see in movies.
Yeah, she's a dipshit in real life, but yeah. And she's got two artists, music artists, who have made songs about her. Rosanna.
Yeah.
By Toto. It's about her.
And
In Your
and a
Eyes
whole
by
bunch-
Peter Gabriel. Peter
Yeah,
Gabriel wrote In Your Eyes about her.
And the entire album Us about their breakup.
Really?
Yeah,
Pretty much,
he
yeah.
said it was his therapy. Yeah. I think Sledgehammer is about dealing with having to get rid of her. He's like, I can't take her anymore.
So
Really?
Taylor
That might have
Swift
been a
before
mutual
Taylor Swift.
breakup. He said it made him realize things about himself that he had to think about, like life, for a couple of years before he went back and took another swing at music. Like he said, it wasn't like her, it was him. Like he was pretty cool about it. He's just like, I had to think this one over. This was so weird.
Oh my God. Melted Copper says Black Rainbow. Is that African American gay folk?
And we've just been demonetized.
I know.
There we go.
All of this. Don't worry. Mr. Dobkin and Mr. O'Flynn will make sure that it's a fair contest.
Yeah, I paused the slideshow because I didn't want that scene to go by where you
No,
guys
this
completely.
is his moment.
Let's give reverence. Yeah, let's give
Yeah.
reverence to this scene. I'm going to start playing it now. Here we go. The ending. Got that pistol shoved into his belt.
Yeah.
And we missed it when he says he knows that he's not too familiar with that weapon, and he's so
Yes.
wrong in that.
And that's his mistake. Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, he's looking
Ben
at it, all right,
Mendelsohn.
it's 3 against 1.
Ben Mendelsohn has a great death here.
Yeah. I never realized until today that was him.
Yeah, it was early film.
Yeah.
And he fucking lays them all three out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, he also, before, wait a minute, pause it. His last line before the gunfight starts is this, in a very tired, disgusted voice. This ain't Dodge City.
Yeah.
You ain't
You
Bill
ain't-
Hickok.
You ain't Bill Hickok.
And then it starts and it ends very quickly. And it is
drops
amazing.
them
I love
all
that-
in 1 second.
I love
Yep.
when he's standing over him. He says, I told you I never had much use for pistols. I
Yeah.
didn't tell you.
Never
I didn't
said I
how to
didn't know how to
one."
use one.
And,
Yes.
and then Rickman dying actually chuckles a little bit. He goes, "Oh," like, it makes
Yeah.
that-
Yes.
"Oh," and then
And
dies.
that I want to say is my absolute favorite setup and payoff in a movie. That
Yeah.
line
And
that
what
he
is-
says at dinner, and then this scene where he says, "I never said I didn't know how to use one."
But what
And
does
the
it
last
mean
thing
about
going
how
through
he?
Rickman's mind is, damn it, I'm an idiot.
This
Whoa.
end reminds me of the way a Leone Western ends. You know, there's always the
Yeah.
pause, then boom, 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 it's over.
And then you're
But
like,
it's
what's
not
he doing
over.
with that Sharps rifle there? Or is he going to be a good guy? And of course he is. I never doubted. I knew he was coming out there to give him the rifle.
Yep.
What do you think it says about his feelings towards the guy he just gatted down when he's like, I never had much use for a pistol, but I just wasted you with one? That's like a flex, man.
It is. It is that he does all of his work with the long range rifle. He's never needed a pistol,
That's
but
like
it doesn't mean
Obi-Wan
he doesn't know
taking
what to
out-
do.
It's
That's
like
all.
when Obi-Wan takes out Grievous and throws away the pistol. So uncivilized.
Yes.
Oh, he's talking about the TV show Sledgehammer. That was a good show. I laughed at that. It was a fun show.
Yeah.
Dab Nabbit, I don't want to be the friend circle bad boy to the new internet friend circle. And Rickman is great between Die Hard, Robin Hood, Prince. I'm not a fan of the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves film, and Galaxy Quest. Love Galaxy Quest. And of course, Harry Potter. Yeah, he was great in that.
Yeah, I'm
He
not
was.
a fan of the Harry Potter movies. I prefer the books, but man, he is great.
Yeah,
as
that's
Snape.
the octagonal barrel. See it? They just showed it.
Yep.
It's the octagonal barrel, the Army Colt. The Navy, I think, had a round barrel where the Army had the octagonal. Oh yeah, the British officers think we've got our man,
Yep.
And
and
he's
then
all snarky and looking down on him, and then
Yep. The cavalry, and as I wrote in my notes, the cavalry has arrived, shortly to be followed by the infantry. And
lots
and
of
I don't know if
strange
you know the
stuff.
movie the movie that made Michael Caine a star. It's called Zulu.
Yeah,
And
it's on the list.
I had a major Zulu vibe watching this scene.
Oh hell yeah!
They've got their
With all of
uniform.
the Aborigines lining the hills around the station, and him looking up at them, going, oh dear. I think he said something else to himself. And I thought, East Son Luana ring a bell, Major?
Yeah.
And much like in Zulu, well,
My
this
dad
is
said
sort of
that.
manifesting-
When we first saw
Well,
this
the
movie,
threat's
my
sort of
dad said that
manifest.
very thing. Sorry.
Rickman was the only reason I even watched the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry about it. No, but
One of the
just
few
like
reasons.
in Zulu, while this threat's sort of manifesting around them, the British officers are like, they've got some papers they want to talk about. Like, I think in Zulu, it's like date of brevet and who's going to be in command. And in this movie, they're
Yes.
like, we got a few papers here that say that maybe you might be a jerk.
The Aborigines aren't even threatening, though. They're just standing there in silence. That's enough. That's all
It is
British
enough.
guys needed.
And yeah, the Major
Oh,
turns
there's
his troop
a
around.
scene, by the way, in the film I forgot about when they're on their long ride on the wagon. She goes, "Are those koalas?" And you see kangaroos hopping around out in the. He goes, "No, I think those things are roos."
She's so crazy.
It's like when Scarface calls every bird a pelican.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
pelican.
the British just leave.
Yep.
And then when he turns and looks, all the Aboriginal army that was standing on the ridgeline, gone, like
Yep.
ghosts in the
Just
wind.
evaporated.
Which tracks with Zulu as well.
Yep.
Oh, I know the film you're talking about. It's a good film. I like it. It's
Death Trap.
God, what was that movie? Death Trap. Thank you. I love that movie.
Yeah,
I
the
remember
stage
that movie.
play's really good too.
Well,
think
that's
that's
all the film is. It is a stage play done on film.
Yeah.
I love the way they
Yep.
did it.
Yeah, was
Oh,
he the
here's
stage-
that
was Reeves
scene.
the stage actor? Is that where we get
This-
Christopher Reeves from?
What?
Was Reeves in the play? Is that where we get him from?
He's in the movie. Christopher Reeves is in the movie Death Trap.
Did they bring him over from the play? Is what I'm wondering.
I don't know. I have no clue. But this is the scene because the guy sitting behind the counter has a pistol aimed at him.
Yes.
Because there's a wanted dead or alive poster underneath that counter for Quigley, Matthew Quigley. Is your name, sir? Finally he says, Roy Bannon. Fucking love it. And she just lets him know right there, I am ready for you to give me sex.
Yep.
I think defending the baby against the dingoes kind of brought her mind
Broke
back.
her. Yeah,
Broke
Yeah. No, it did.
broke
It
the
was her.
spell
She
and
broke
brought
the
her back.
trauma.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
broke the trauma.
It was her redemptive moment.
Yeah. Because she
And
was
she didn't need her
First step.
coping mechanism anymore.
Yeah.
Good point. But you know,
Of course.
he says her husband's name. I think it was Roy Cobb. And
Roy Cobb.
Was it Roy Cobb?
Roy Cobb. And then
Cobb,
when he walks
yeah.
out, she said, you told me that you wouldn't sleep with me until I called you by your name. He says, what's my name? She says, Matthew Quigley. And the film ends
He
with a
had to
kiss.
use an alias with that poster.
Yeah, he
around.
did. He did.
Oh,
He
that
had to
was
use an
long.
alias or he'd have been shot by the clerk.
Yep. John's Coppola says, I
Chipola.
love this Chipola. I love the sniping in this movie, especially the rifle. Yes, it's a beautiful rifle. And like was brought up earlier, they were already 6 months to a year on making weapons to send to people after they were ordered. This movie doubled their orders, if not quadrupled their orders. It was ridiculous. This movie had a huge impact.
And for your information, I looked. If you wanted to buy one of these now, you're looking at a $2,000 to $3,000 rifle.
Wow.
I also see Melted Copper joined us, and Real Wade Nation has joined us. Good day, guys. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday. Love me Saturdays. They're good days indeed. Now I'm going to add this to the streams. Here we go. This is our military movie list that we still have to watch, Anima and I. We got Apocalypse Now, Battle of the Bulge, Battleship. We already did that one. So Captain Horatio Hornblower, the 1950 version with Gregory Peck. Failsafe, Firebirds, From Here to Eternity, Go Tell It to the Spartans, Burt Lancaster's last military movie. Hornet's Nest, which is an amazing movie right there with what's his name? The gay actor that got AIDS. What is his name? Famous actor. The first Hollywood star that got AIDS and died.
Rock Hudson?
Rock Hudson.
Yeah, we're talking about Rock Hudson.
Again, Rock Hudson with Ice Station Zebra.
Great.
March or Die is a favorite of mine with Gene Hackman. It's about the French Foreign Legion. Max, which I've heard is a good film. I've not seen it yet. Mr. Roberts is a favorite of mine with James Cagney, Jack Lemmon.
Who did it?
Who
did it?
Mr. Roberts. I love that movie.
It's a great
No Man is an Island, 1962. Proof of Life is a very good film. It doesn't get the praise it deserves. And it's got one of my favorite moments in a film that shows a guy, a commando, killing a guy with a knife and then throwing up right when he does it. And I've heard from other guys that they've thrown up right when they had to pierce the skin of another human being. Run Silent, Run Deep.
Good one.
2 versions of it. Let's see. Saving Private Ryan, only because of my boss, Dale Dye. I'm going to do that. Shout at the Devil, classic fucking movie. Lee Marvin, Roger Moore, great fucking movie. Shrapnel is a new film I've not watched yet. Sisu, it was okay. I enjoyed it. Guy killing Nazis. Can't complain. Steel Helmet, which is one of Don's. This is one of Don Ecker's favorite films.
Great movie.
This is written and directed by the same guy who wrote The Big Red One, which will be also on the list. Take the High Ground, and of course, The Big Red One. I have 2 copies of it.
What, do you have the director's cut and the theatrical one?
Let me look at it real quick, and I'll tell you. Yeah, this is the director's cut. Or wait, no, this is the director's cut.
I wonder which one I own.
Gary, please tell me you have Patton on your list.
We already
We
watched
did it
it.
already.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's fine then.
The Devil's Brigade, it's absolutely on my list. This is what's left to still do. The Dirty Dozen, of course. I love that fucking movie. The Enemy Below. 4 Feathers. This is the 1978 version. The Last Full Measure, which is a tough film to watch. It's about a medic who gives his life to save a bunch of guys to help him. The One That Got Away, Chris Ryan's Bravo 2-0. That's an Iraq war, first Gulf War.
Yeah. Sean Bean.
The Package is a very good fucking movie. Tommy Lee Jones, Gene Hackman. Peacemaker is actually a very good action film.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Yep. The Point Men, which is a new film I've not seen. The Three Musketeers, D'Artagnan, the French new one, and I see that the second part has come out or is coming out. I can hardly wait to see him. Very good film. We just did this one, The Wind and the Lion. Very fond of that film. The Bourne Identity is in there because he is a soldier. 30 Seconds Over Tokyo. To Hell and Back.
All right.
We just
Van
did
Johnson. Who's the star of 30 Seconds Over Tokyo?
Spencer Tracy.
Yeah.
It's been a long time
But
on that one. It's a favorite, though.
Johnson is in there. Van Johnson. We did Tora Tora Tora. This is another great film. Michael Caine, Where the Eagles Dare. Oh, wait, no, that's the Clint Eastwood film. Richard Burton.
Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton.
I just said that.
It's
Jesus fucking
not
Christ,
to be
deleted.
confused.
Sorry.
with Eagle Has Landed with Michael Caine and
kidding,
what's
buddy.
his face?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now.
But
that
here it is.
movie's
I wanted you to
horrible.
see this because you brought this film up, Zulu, as well as its prequel. Even though they are not directed by the same guy, they're written by the same screenwriter, who is also the director of the first movie. He wrote this script, and it takes place several hours before Zulu. And I love both films.
Yeah, you're right, because the Zulu engagement was it maybe a couple of days? They had enough time to find out about it, but they had telegraph wires. But there was no time for guns from one battlefield to be transported to the other. It was really far apart. That's a good movie, and we get to see the strangest thing of all things: Indiana Jones's boss as a tough guy.
Yep,
Denholm Elliott is in it.
And Gary, I'm
We're
going to
gonna do-
assume that you've already watched Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's a tough film, man. That's
It
a
is.
tough film. I don't think I could do it. I watched it once. I couldn't watch it again. Because as a medic, that's why I became a medic, because I was not a pacifist. I was a conscientious objector. And my first sergeant couldn't understand that, and he referred to me as a pacifist. I said, no, a pacifist won't do anything. They'll let you come up and kill them, stab you, whatever, take a hit. It won't do anything. I, on the other hand, if you bring a knife, I'll shoot you, and then I'll go to bed and sleep a righteous sleep. I won't feel any guilt. I don't have a problem killing another human being if it's necessary. I really don't. But anyway, I'm a conscientious objector. That means I won't take an order to kill somebody. I'll only kill if it's necessary. I decide. So First Blood, we're going to be covering that in a couple of weeks. Then we'll be covering First Blood 4, Rambo, and First Blood 5, Last Blood. I don't really want to ever watch Rambo 2 or 3 because I'm not a fan. I have so many problems with those films. But I love First Blood and I love the last two.
What, Gary? You don't want to support the brave fighters of the Mujahideen gene in Afghanistan?
Not a fan.
Rambo 2 has a body count of like 86. How can you not watch a movie that mad? I mean, it's a 90-minute movie with 86 kills. Come on.
Hey, these Taliban guys are pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm going to be introducing her to some other great films too. Like today, we're watching As Good as It Gets with Jack Nicholson.
And I'm telling you, I've seen that.
She's
one,
never
and
seen Ghostbusters.
I'm pretty
It was not with me. It was not with me. Club Dread. I really wanted to see more of those guys' work.
That's a funny movie.
This is a film not many people know. The Spirit is Willing. It was produced and directed by William Castle Films. And it's one of his comedies, and it's got a great cast, Sid Caesar included, about a kid coming of age story where he falls in love with a girl, but there's also a ghost version of the girl that's a distant relative, and it is just full of shenanigans. The next person that says shenanigans, I'm going to shoot you. Hey, Farva, what's that restaurant you like to go to with all the shit on the walls? I love that scene so much in Super Troopers. What shenanigans? And they're like, he hands them the gun. Huh? I hope you guys have seen the movie so you understand why that's so funny. Hello?
I love the Broken Lizards. I read you loud and clear.
All right, yeah. Let's see. I've got Broken Vows, which is Tommy Lee Jones' big TV movie in '87. Very good, where he plays a priest that has to investigate a murder of another priest. And he falls in love with a girl. Conspiracy Theory is a film I have been cherishing to show her. She's seen one scene in it with me that I love. Doctor Who and the Daleks with Peter Cushing.
Hey, if you hate Patrick Stewart, you'll love Conspiracy Theory.
The only problem I have with Conspiracy Theory, it's not a problem with the movie. It's that if I want to see an insane person in a Yankee hat talking about stuff that's unlikely or far-fetched, I can just put on my Yankee hat and look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror. There you go. Eating Raoul is a film that a lot of people don't remember. This is the first film of Beltran, the guy who played Chakotay in Voyager. This was his first movie. And it even says, introducing Ice. It's a black comedy about. It's basically based on Sweeney Todd in some ways, but a husband and wife who are having trouble breaking even, and they decide to start inviting men to have sex with her to the house, and before they can, they murder them, and then dispose of the bodies. And they get caught by Chakotay, Beltran, whatever his name is. ICU is a great film with Sylvester Stallone. I love this movie. It's an Agatha Christie type mystery with violence. Fast Charlie is a new film I've not seen, don't know, want to see it. Foreign Correspondent, one of Hitchcock's last English films before he came to America. Frank Frazetta, Painting with Fire is a great documentary about Frank Frazetta. Frankenstein, The True Story was a miniseries that was turned into a film. It's 3 hours long. It is really good. Michael Sarrazin plays the monster. Great cast, like Sir John Gielgud, just like amazing cast. French Kiss is one of my favorite romantic comedies. Have you guys seen this one? Kevin Kline and Meg Ryan?
Nah.
Good film. Very good film. Jean Reno plays the cop chasing Kevin Kline's character. Hamlet. This is the Mel Gibson version, which I love.
Yeah, good one.
Hannah, the movie, not the TV series. I love this fucking movie. Eric Bana. The Land of Saints and Sinners is a new film, and I freaking love this movie. K9 with Jim Belushi, great film. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. Quigley Down Under, which we just watched last night, or this was it last night? Yeah, well, I think so. Regarding Henry with Harrison Ford, very good film.
No, it was earlier this week.
Okay. Robin and Marion is a film that she has seen and I have seen, but I want to watch it with her. Love this movie, and we'll cover it on Saturdays.
Is this the one with Connery?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it's really good.
And
really,
on Nick
really good.
Weiss's show, he's doing trivia questions, and he had one, and I was the only one able to answer it, and it was about this movie. And Gary was so proud.
SOB.
Like, holy shit, 5 a.m. in the morning. And I'm
haven't changed that much around Sherwood, Sheriff. Yeah, I love that movie. Yeah, Robin goes out there and has like basically an Obi-Wan versus Vader like final fight. It's great.
It's fun.
SOB is one of my favorite Blake Edwards films. That wasn't Pink Panther related. Sabrina, the 1954 version, and the 2000 version with Harrison Ford. Secondhand Lines, I fucking love that movie, dude. I love that movie.
You get to
it's
talk
got
about
Michael
being a
Caine
man.
and Robert Duvall. Just fucking great. I have this movie. I don't know if we'll ever get a chance to watch it. I finally got a copy of Song of the South. This is the 4K remastering.
You have angered the Walt Disney Company.
No way. You know, it's going to be something to be able to actually see it. I think it was still like kicking around movie theaters when I was very, very, very young, like in a festival of Disney films. I'm pretty sure
it was. It was still around. It wasn't
like
until
1975 or 6, right?
In the 90s or late 80s when it became taboo. Sound of Freedom. I love this movie. Tarzan the Ape Man, 1932 with Johnny Weissmuller. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1990, which Tom and I just did. We've already seen it. Tequila Sunrise. Great fucking forgotten film. The Adventures, we've already seen this. Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. The Bricklayer, brand new movie.
Great movie.
This film is one I want her to see when this movie, Kurt Russell had just made a Disney film.
Yeah.
Turned around and made this film. And Disney never worked with him again until he was an adult. And he did the superhero one. Super High or whatever the movie was called.
Sky High.
Yeah.
Sky High. Killer Elite is one of my favorite films. Sam Peckinpah directed it. It's got Robert Duvall and James Caan. It's the first American ninja movie right there. That movie, 1975. This is the George C. Scott version with Val Kilmer and Joanna Wiley before she became a Kilmer. Murders in the Rue Morgue. The New Centurions is one of the best cop movies ever made. Joseph Wambaugh wrote it.
Yeah.
The Quiet Man, one of the greatest John Wayne films ever made. About a boxer who kills a guy in the ring and quits boxing and moves to Ireland back to his family's property that they owned. The Ruling Class is one of the best black comedies ever made. And when I say black, I mean dark humor. And it's got what's his name? Peter O'Toole as the main character in it. And it's very dark, but it's funny as hell. Of course, the original Transporter is one of my favorite films. I love that movie. The sequels, but I love that first one. And of course, the original Willow is on our list to watch.
I'd almost want to add Crank to that list.
There, another film that's in here somewhere. Here it is. Yeah, is Greystoke, Legend of Tarzan, right here. And then the 2016 movie is pretty good. I actually really liked it. Let's see. Did the Rutger Hauer movies. I've got Osterman Weekend and Lady Hawk.
Nice.
For Kane and Connery, Funeral in Berlin, Midnight in St. Petersburg, $1 Billion Brain, Harry Brown, which we just watched, by the way, and she loved it. I always consider Harry Brown sort of the final Harry film because he was Harry Palmer in the other films. Outland, and then The Man Who Would Be King, that has both of those actors in it. A lot of people don't know this. They were roommates and they're best friends until Connery's death. Let's see. For thrillers, I have, a lot. History of Violence at Close Range, Bullet, Cast the Deadly Spell, Chinatown, Eastern Promises, Frantic, Freebie and the Bean, Laura, Marlowe, which I thought was better than a lot of people give it credit for, Murder by Decree, which is a comedy and mystery, Point Blank with Lee Marvin.
Love that movie.
Spartan with Val Kilmer.
Good one.
With Gene Hackman. Bone Collector, I think, is a brilliant fucking movie with Denzel Washington. It was the last of the Denzel Peter Gabriel movies where his movies ended with a Peter Gabriel song. That was the last one. The Last Run with George C. Scott, great fucking movie. The Long Kiss Goodnight, I think that film is a lot better than what people remember it as. I love the movie.
Fun
one, yeah.
I just love the character of Charlie Baltimore because that's like how you do a female spy.
Yeah, she's great in it. The Untouchables, of course. The 7% Solution is one of my favorite Sherlock Holmes films that's not written by Conan Doyle. The whole 9 yards.
Star Trek guy. It's the Wrath of Khan writer.
That's right. I just forgot his name.
Lawrence Kasdan.
No, not Lawrence Kasdan.
Nick.
Oh my God, what is his name?
Nicholas.
He wrote Wrath of Khan.
Nicholas Meyer.
The Whole 9 Yards is a great film. I love this movie. Plus, it's got Amanda Pete's tits in it, and I can never get away from that. She's also in the Gap Club. Gap between her teeth. 3 Days of the Condor is absolutely favorite spy thriller.
That's a really good
villain too.
Yep. Oh,
are they cavorting around New York in that one? It's New York City, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, Max von Sydow,
New York
Hitman.
When
he does that scene where he's killing everybody in the building, and he looks at the girl, the Asian girl, and he looks at her and he says, "Please move away from the window." And then she obliges, and he shoots her. Is one of the toughest scenes I've ever seen in a movie, and there's an homage to it in Vindicated. You Are Never Really Here with Joaquin Phoenix. I love that fucking movie. Dark.
Yeah, so do I. It's intense fucking movie.
What's amazing is he doesn't want to be alive, but until the end, and by the end, he wants to live, and I like that. Yeah. That he finds his will to live. Dark film about veterans. He's a veteran. So there you go, guys. That's some stuff we're planning to do over the next couple of years. That's a lot of movies. That's a lot of movies. I should play the one video that we have for this movie today. It's in here, right? Do we have Quigley Down Under on here? Martin, I'm talking to you.
What?
Martin?
What?
Do we have anything from Quigley on here?
No.
No videos. All right. So I'll play this one.
Prime laps with your 4 wins.
By the way, we have many backdoor reference.
Oh, then get to your video playing before we go.
Okay, so I'm gonna play just one for as a group. Thank you.
Oh, awesome one is here, and Cody Geyer here. Hi, guys.
Let me see.
Blind Fury is on my. I have it. I love that movie. Meg Foster before she got too scary.
Oh.
She got scary looking in the 90s and the 2000s. When she was in Rob Zombie's movie, fuck, man. She's horrifying looking now. Oh, my God.
Well, for all of
Keely Chow
you-
is here, too. Oh, my God. I miss people.
I wonder what happens when we don't give him
Wait,
his video.
wait, Tim. Let me get there first. For all of you that made a backdoor bridge, you have this favorite of ours.
Check around and see if there's a back door.
Don Rickles.
Jesus, I can. Okay. And for Tim,
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
I wish I hadn't Googled Meg Foster.
What happened?
Oh,
she used to be
time.
beautiful. There was a time she was gorgeous.
Is she the bad chick from V?
No.
No.
No. She looks a little like her.
Oh,
Not-
Patrick sent me the audio versions of his show. I'm going to be listening to that later.
let me take this.
And am I not wrong? Patrick should be in politics, helping to change California. I think he's got some really good ideas.
Meg Ryan and her clone aged badly.
Yeah, Meg Ryan, she did the thing with her lips, and she's never looked right since.
Not just her lips. She went full in on the cosmetic.
She messed up
surgery.
with the whole face, man.
Yeah.
Was it? Didn't she date John Cougar and he kind of went like the same path? And when we'd see them together, it was just like, oh my God, 2 plastic surgery disasters in a row.
You're thinking of Meg Ryan.
Yeah, Meg
Okay.
Ryan. Well, that's what was
She
said.
also took a radical
Meg
path.
Ryan. Because that's who I'm talking about. She had the lip stuff done.
Yeah.
And it
And
fucked up
everything
her
else.
lips.
She did nothing for the longest time, and then she just did everything at once out of nowhere. And when we saw her, she was barely recognizable in some strange boxing movie. She does that military movie where
We've already
they're
done the
reviewing
watch.
it-
We finished watching, John. The slideshow's over. So now we're just sort of talking at the end of the show. Are there any more that are owed, Martin?
No.
Oh, we're good. Yeah, Goldie Hawn looked so weird. I should be in politics. If you think this country's bad off, just wait till I get through. Wait till they get a load of me. I know. Way to go, Jack Napier. I think Goldie is still pretty. She is gorgeous, but there was a period when right after the injections. Oh. Mira Sorvino, yeah, she messed up her face too.
I think it's time to start casting the lustful eye on Kate Hudson. That's basically Goldie Hawn, rewound about 30 years.
Isn't she a daughter, actually?
I love the Marx Brothers, Tim. I love them. And one of my favorite gags to this day is when they're on a ship and this big, large woman is hugging Groucho. She goes, "Hold me. I'm holding you." She goes, "Hold me. I am holding. Hold me closer. If I get any closer, I'll be behind you." I fucking love that line. It stick with me to this day. They're like dialogue from movies. Somebody will throw something out and it just sticks like glue in my head. If I hold you any closer, I'll be behind you. Waffle Iron of Justice. The Waffler. You're talking about a movie I'm trying to get Anima to watch with me is Mystery Men.
What do you mean trying to get me to watch it with you?
You didn't like the trailer. So I'm like,
Oh.
fuck, I got to get her to watch this movie because I really do. I think you'll enjoy it.
I was one
There
of
are
the
some
people that saw Mystery Men in theaters. So
Jamie Presley is one of the prettiest trailer trash women I've ever met or seen. And I have met her, by the way. She is just so fucking adorable as a person. And not just gorgeous,
Right.
she is adorable as a person.
She's hot. Well put.
You know, she is so funny. She has a great sense of humor. And she did that movie. I didn't want to see the movie, the martial arts video game movie.
Dead or
where you go to the
Alive?
island. Yeah, I did not want to watch it. But when I saw she was in, I'm like, all right, I'm going to fuck watch a movie. I enjoyed it. She's a hoot in it. Jamie Presley. I was so upset that they didn't let them finish the List TV
Earl.
show. Yeah, My Name is Earl. I love that show, dude.
Oh yeah,
I lived that life. I actually had a list of people that I looked for and found to apologize to them for shit that I did when I was younger. Don Hicks was one of them. And he gave me some bullshit. Well, I don't even remember that. You don't remember me busting you in the face in the middle of home ec class. Thanks. Whatever. I punched him right in the face, blood spraying out of his face. Right in the middle of home ec class. Because I put salt instead of sugar in the cookies. And he came up and he made some snarky remark. It's really not bad once you get past the salty flavor. And I just plowed him right in the face with this. I felt really bad. Just started watching Mystery Men. I'm saying it felt like I was watching Blade Runner and Batman versus Arnold movie. Oh, it's great. It's so off the fucking wall. Weird. And
it came out too soon. If Mystery Men came out now, it would be just what they
It'd have been a hit. It would have been.
And by the way, it would have helped people with this superhero fatigue, because once you have successful satire of something, people can handle it a little more again. That was good.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
And way better
I think
done
the movie
than
came out at the
Boys.
wrong time.
Yeah,
Like,
it was too early.
I just love him being sponsored, and the big turning point for him is when he starts to lose his sponsors. Like, they just get ripped off his costume.
I think The Boys owes a lot to Mystery Men, unless that was already around. But Mystery Men's pretty old.
No. The Boys started, 2000? The comics started in, 2004? This is around that. It was, after 9/11.
So Mystery Men's 1998, so
yeah.
I think we're safe there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, The Boys had some awareness of the Mystery Men.
He said he sent Gary sent a link in the chat.
Yeah, August 6th,
asking me?
1999 was the release date, Mystery Men.
Well, no, look, Copper, I'm going to tell you what I say when people bring up superhero fatigue. I said, no, people have a fatigue on badly made superhero films. They're period fatigue on badly made films. People want good films. They want things that are written well and entertaining and fun, but the minute they start going political, socio-political with these films, it's like they start doing badly. Oh, there's superhero fatigue. Whatever. Fuck off. Eternals, Agatha.
We've made too many of these movies with activists. The latest comments by the woman who wants to make the Star Wars movie. I don't know how old they could be and still wash off what she said. I'm not going to pay $20 to have someone lecture me about why I'm shifty, as she put it. Get out of here. You're not getting my money.
You know what? I think I'm going to make my goal as a filmmaker to make women as uncomfortable as possible, because apparently they don't go to the movies anyways. So
they didn't go see Captain Marvel, right?
Oh, don't start down that road.
Oh, we have another person that joined us, Information Man Show. But we are at the end of the show. We've already watched the slideshow talking about Quigley Down Under. I guess I could read some interesting trivia about the film. We can go through some stuff, see if there's anything interesting. One thing I do want to point out is that the composer of the music, which I loved, it's that sweeping Western sound. I love that. Is none other than Basil Polidorus, the guy who gave us the theme for Conan. And for October, he did some great compositions, man. And I love this movie's soundtrack. Let's see. Alan Rickman decided to take the part because filming was taking place in Australia. He always wanted to visit Australia, which you brought that up earlier. The film was to have Steve McQueen's next film after The Hunter, but he fell ill and, of course, died. Let's see. Tom Selleck said his scariest moment ever as an actor occurred while standing on a boulder near Alice Springs, Australia, over a cliff. He said, I had to look down and it was a big boulder. So they said, end quote, just go, or another quote, they said, quote within a quote. That's badly written. Just go stand on the boulder. You'll be fine. But the boulder started rattling back and forth. And I said, maybe you need to tie me off. Put a rope on me to recover the body. Sharps rifles are now so inseparably related to this film that they are commonly nicknamed the Quigley gun. 3 Sharps rifles were built for the film. We brought that up. You talked about that. In the scene where Quigley demonstrates the rifle, he mentions that the bullet is paper patched, which might sound like some Hollywood mumbo jumbo. However, it's an actual technique common in the mid-late 1800s to maximize accuracy and precision. A thin layer of paper is placed around the bullet, which is then used by the barrel rifling to spin the bullet faster through and stabilize its flight. In the opening scene, the real name of the ship is the Almadople, which was launched in 1903, a 3-masted topsail schooner, and is one of the oldest such ships surviving to this day. The picture was produced by the then just newly formed Path Group under the control of Alan Ladd Jr. While discussing the Colt Army revolver during the dinner in Marston's house, Quigley quips that God made all men, then say Sam Colt made them equal, more or less, which is a famous saying.
Yep.
Let's see. Matthew Quigley's gun is a replica of the 1874 Sharps Buffalo rifle built by Shiloh Rifles of Montana. They are chambered in a 45 110, which is a 45 caliber bullet propelled by 110 grain black powder. Quigley's ability to shoot accurately to over 1,200 feet, 1.09 kilometers, with iron sights is not far-fetched at all. And we know that because the one dude proved it on video.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's Emotionally Unstable Amphibian. What's up, buddy? The name of the Australian Outback pub in Fremantle, Western Australia was the Black Swan Hotel. The Black Swan is the state bird of Western Australia. Harrison Ford was offered the lead role but turned it down. This is a reversal of what you talked about earlier, Tom Selleck. One taking the other. Yep. The film marks Simon Windsor and composer Basil Polidorus' second collaboration. The first was Lonesome Dove. And there was supposed to be a connection with Lonesome Dove with this movie, because I remember in the marketing at the time. So I don't know what it was. Was it
From
one of the producers?
From the director of Lonesome Dove was what they said.
Okay, that's what they said. Because I knew there was a connection. I love Lonesome Dove. If you've never seen it, Tommy Lee Jones, Robert Duvall, fucking amazing television. The Shiloh Sharps rifle uses a double. Yeah, we know that. The double trigger is actually a safety. It's a safety feature. You got to release the catch with the one trigger to fire the first trigger. It's the same thing with the Mannlicher.
No,
which was used for the Blade Runner pistol.
I would argue it's an accuracy feature because a set trigger, you have about a 4-pound trigger in the back that you press to set. But that trigger in the front is a hair trigger.
Yeah.
So it's so that you have a very light trigger, but you don't have it active
squeezing
all the time. Yes.
Well, it's less squeezing. You know, and the less you squeeze, the more accurate you're going to be. I totally agree with you.
So
on that.
I actually, you're right. It's partly safety, partly accuracy. Because most of these rifles,
you can't squeeze the trigger without pulling the first trigger.
Right. But the thing with these rifles is that once you load it, it's ready to fire. So there is no other safety. It's other than, don't touch the trigger. But yeah, they offered single set, which is the Army version, or a double set trigger, which is what Quigley had. Yeah.
If you look at the Mannlicher, it has one too. And it's used, that was what was used for the trigger housing on the Blade Runner blaster.
Yep.
And that's why there's 2 triggers on the Blade Runner pistol. When asked, Quigley responds that he is from Wyoming, meaning the state in the United States, to which he is met with, that near Sydney? And Quigley quips back a bit further north. But when in fact, Wyoming is the name of the suburb in New South Wales, just north of Sydney. And that's why that's there. Both Steve McQueen and Clint Eastwood were considered for the lead role as Matthew Quigley. Screenwriter John Hill first began writing the film screenplay. That's not true. It was 1975. It says 78 here. First of the three collaborations, all Westerns between Tom Selleck and director Simon Windsor. The other two, Monty Walsh and Crossfire Trail. I do like the readaptation with Monty Walsh. If you've never seen it, watch that. It was a made-for-TV version, but it's really good. The original film I like too, which has Charlton Heston in it, and it's a great movie. Crossfire Trail is also another one. He did that one with Sam Elliott. The name of the country Outback Station, Australia, was Marston Waters, named after the family surname of Elliot Marston, played by Alan Rickman. The name of the clipper ship was the Miss Liberty of the Port of San Francisco. The worm-looking things that were given to Quigley to eat are called witchetty grubs. And by the way, I've eaten earthworms, and they're very good. I had them deep fried. They're like what do they call those French fry sticks that you get in the can?
You can deep fry sponge and it's going to taste good. Everything is good deep fried.
I don't know about
That's
that.
how our brains work.
I don't know about that. I know that there are some things you can fry and it would taste good, but I don't know about sponge.
It's the only thing that makes anything in Scottish cuisine edible.
Yeah.
Probably.
I've had a haggis, by the way. It tastes good, but no, I'll never do it again.
There's nothing Gary put in his mouth.
What I like is bangers and mash,
Yes.
which is sausage and mashed potatoes. And I had that while I was overseas. But my favorite thing to eat over there is pasties. I love meat pies, specifically steak and kidney pies. I survived on that. And when we were on the road, I ate peanuts in Coke. My dad taught me this as a kid, that when you open a Coke bottle, you dump peanuts down inside of it. And as you drink it, you get peanuts with the soda. And it tastes amazing. It's shockingly good. Let's see. First of two 1990 Australian Westerns directed by Australian Simon Windsor for theatrical release. Lightning Jack. Windsor had previously directed American television miniseries Lonesome Dove, which I fucking love, and later directed Crossfire Trail. The latter also starred Tom Selleck, along with, again, Sam Elliott. And I've always wondered if those two are friends, but after that Family Guy episode where they blasted Tom Selleck, I don't think they're friends. Because Sam Elliott took part in that blasting Tom Selleck shit. The Australian movie Western had three top-billed stars, none of whom were Australian. Tom Selleck, Alan Rickman, and Laura San Giacomo.
Good point.
When Quigley arrives in Fremantle, West Australia, he is wearing a blue shirt and a red bandana, and then later he's got a red shirt, which I like. Because the Old West was very colorful. People tend to think they didn't wear color back then. Bright colors. That's why I love the movie Tombstone, because it shows how colorful their clothing was. When you look at the people walking around that town, bright colored shirts and hats. Yes, peanuts and soda is a 10-10. I concur. The character of Grimmelman is portrayed by actor Ron Hadrick, whose real-life wife's maiden name is Margaret Lorraine Quigley. I don't know why that's interesting to anybody.
Just because Quigley.
The opening. You were saying something?
I said just because her last name's Quigley.
Yeah, I caught that, but I past that, I'm like, I don't really care. Okay, the opening theme music is eerily similar to the opening theme music of another film called The Sons of Katie Elder with John Wayne. Dean Martin, Earl Holliman.
It's a really good movie.
Oh, it's very good. And a lot of people make the mistake that the Katie in the movie is Big Nose Kate, and it's not Big Nose Kate. It's a different Kate. But she is based on a real person. The movie's closing credits open with their first title card clearly stating no animals were killed or injured during the making of this film. Let's see.
Well, some of the horse stunts were crazy.
They were.
Not just the
And
horses, but...
And I have to assume that it was a pantomime horse that went over the cliff.
Oh, it wasn't real.
It
No,
was
it
a
was
dummy.
not real.
That one was a dummy.
Yeah.
But it's just one thing to train humans to be stuntmen, and then it's a completely different thing to train animals, especially horses. They're dumb. So I'm always a bit scared by stunts like that.
Okay, at the 1 hour, 8-minute moment, Quigley throws down a piece of wood with lizards. The wood is a non-returning boomerang used for hunting. The returning type boomerang is used for sport. Okay, that's interesting. Both Alan Rickman and Ben Mendelsohn played the sheriff of Nottingham. I don't remember Mendelsohn. He's probably in that one I won't watch by the limey director. Frickin', I can't think of his name. He's married to Madonna.
Is he in the
one who was
Ridley
married to
Scott
Madonna.
one?
The one married to Madonna.
Ritchie.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie.
Who did the Russell Crowe one? Is that Guy Ritchie or Ridley Scott?
Ridley Scott.
Yeah,
No,
here it says it right here. Alan
didn't
Rickman
enjoy
played
that one much either.
Yeah, Rickman played him in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which, don't get me wrong, has some great moments in it, but I'm not a fan. And Ben Mendelsohn played the sheriff in Robin Hood 2018, which is a terrible film.
Yeah.
I do it by the trailer. I'm like, I'm not watching that movie. This movie marks the debut under the, oh yeah, they already talked about this one, of Path Films under Alan Ladd Jr. The time period is established in the dining room scene. Marston asks Quigley about his visit to Dodge City. Quigley replies, Dodge City is a nice place to get some sleep. Dodge City was established in 1871. So clearly it can't be the 1860s. And its notoriety was based on the lawlessness experienced prior to the establishment of law enforcement in 1873, and which was amplified by later news articles from the dime novels of the time. Let's see.
Of which Alan Rickman's character was obviously a very big fan.
Yeah, because it's like right here, like Marston is intrigued by Quigley's employment application, sending him the newspaper with the bullet holes in it, and
That
far he
visual
took the
was
shot.
cool. I loved that visual.
Let's see. According to the Wikipedia website, during the 1980s, around 86, the film was almost set up at Warner Brothers with Lewis Gilbert as director, but it fell over during pre-production. I don't know what that means. When Quigley uses the board called a Woomera to launch the spears, he throws the board with the spear. The board is kept to use and throw another spear the other. Yeah, okay. So he made a mistake and threw the board.
Yeah, it's also known as an atlatl. It's a throwing stick. Yeah,
that's interesting. Let's see. Last one. On the DVD, in the section covered on how the movie was made, it said that the movie depicted life in Australia outback 150 years past. With the film date of 1990, it makes the era of the film to be 1940, from 1 to 3.5 decades before many of the guns in the film would have been available. I don't know about that one. While guns like the 1851 and 1860 Colt revolvers were still in use in the 1970s, I think this is a terrible bit of trivia there. I don't like that one.
Yeah.
Snipers in U.S. Navy SEALs call a shot that takes out 2 people simultaneously a Quigley.
Nice.
I like that.
I do too.
The opening scene where Quigley disembarks was filmed at the pier in Portlington and the Flagstaff Hill Maritime Village, which is located in Warrnambool in Victoria.
Nice.
In the scene where the British attempt to arrest Quigley and are then surrounded by Aboriginals, the sun angle changes from midday to sunset, sunrise, and then back. That's a common thing. My dad was like funky about that. When we watched the movie with Clint Eastwood, Josie Wales, in the final battle, the sun changes where it's at, and it was driving my dad crazy. He got so frustrated he wouldn't shut up about it. The nickname that Crazy Cora had for Matthew Quigley was Roy, the name of her estranged husband. That's not trivia.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the story. So There we go. That's from IMDb.
Interesting stuff about Clint because he's such a stickler for when he films and how he films. He'll only film during certain times of the year, and he's really, really rigid. But that's very early for him, so maybe he wasn't ready for it or something.
Well, what you run into in filmmaking, and this is part of the problem with Josie Wells, a lot of that film came out of Clint Eastwood's pocket. And if they had to wait another day to get the same daylight, that's a lot of money. And so
It's
that's
a great
why that's
film, though. It's a great film.
You just kind of
It
have
is.
to not notice it or just ignore it when that happens.
It's my favorite film of
sucks.
his.
There's too many good things in that movie to let one little problem ruin it. It's just so good. It's so well done.
I concur completely. By the way, we just watched the Alfred Hitchcock film, The Lady Vanishes. Because I'm a big Hitchcock fan, especially his original films they did in England. And going to watch sometime, maybe this weekend, I hope, The Man Who Knew Too Much, the original British production, not the one Hitchcock did later with Jimmy Stewart. I love that movie too, but the original film is so much better because in that film, the woman takes the shot because she's a sharpshooter. She's part of that this skiing and shooting competition stuff that they do in winter sports. You know what? That's called?
I just so happen to know because I'm so weird. It's called the Winter Biathlon.
Is that it? Winter Biathlon. She takes part in that. And so in the final scene, the cops are afraid to take the shot of the bad guy who's up on the rooftop with her child. And when they won't take the shot, she rips the rifle from the cop's hand and shoots the bad guy. I love that. You know, Hitchcock was way ahead of his time as a director of showing women being capable of doing things. Hollywood tended to show women as being love interests or mothers. You know, they tended to not really give them challenges. Sometimes you only got that in Western form with what's her name, the lady shooter from the 1800s, was dated or was in love with Bill Hickok.
Annie Oakley
Oakley, the Annie Oakley movie, where she was more than just a love interest. She was a sharpshooter. So I like that. You know, I'm not like some crazy feminist type, but I was raised in a feminist home, you know, and so there are certain things I just came to understood, you know, that women are quite capable. Doesn't mean they can do everything that a guy can do, but they can do a lot of cool things.
Yeah.
Some cool, badass shit. And I have no problem with females in the military unless they can't do their job completely, which means also having to carry somebody away if they get wounded. If you can't do that, you don't belong. That includes little guys too. I didn't like little guys that were weak and scrawny. Capable, sure, but we don't want everyone to know that. We just let y'all do certain things to make you feel better. I can't open these pickles. Can you get it for me?
You look like you'd be perfect for the drone warfare program. We're sending you to McDill.
Yeah, there you go. What was this about Prince of Thieves? Prince of Thieves was great. Articulate hating it was the confirming marriage scene. I disliked when Alan Rickman tries to do the grape scene. I just thought it was over the top ridiculous. I hated Robin Hood not having an English accent, sound like he's from Wyoming. That was
I
weird.
went for a couple of minutes, but it was even worse than the Wyoming voice. That was the problem.
And the funny part is he's from California.
Yeah. I didn't get what he tried.
Why does he sound like he's from Wyoming all the time?
By the end of the movie, he's doing his normal voice. I think he said he tries to transition it in 2 phases, but from the point he gets to England on, it's really unfathomable. And there's no line in the movie about like, ever since I hurt my ear, I talk funny. Like that would have helped that movie a lot. But I saw that Maid Marian on Broadway as Aldonza in Man of La Mancha with Brian Stokes Mitchell. She could sing amazing.
That was Mary Elizabeth Mastriantonio. She was very good.
That's right. All I could keep thinking of, I'm seeing this Broadway play with my parents and going through my mind, like she comes out on stage and I just look at my dad. I'm like, oh my God, it's Sheena from Scarface. Do you want to F me, Tony? It's going through my mind. And like she's got this voice like a diamond. It's one of the best performances I've ever seen on Broadway. And La Mancha is a great play. And Stokes Mitchell might be the best guy to do it. And all I can keep thinking of is like, my God, it's Gina.
Okay, hold on. This is the only scene I enjoyed in Robin Hood Men in Tights, is when he delivers that line. Unlike some Robin Hoods, I have a British accent.
What?
I love that line. It's a great line. My problem with Mel Brooks after the, I kind of criticized even Spaceballs, but what worked with Mel Brooks was when he worked with another writer. When he had another writer was when he created really good stuff. Gene Wilder with Young Frankenstein, Gene Wilder and other writers, including Richard Pryor with Blazing Saddles. Spaceballs was kind of like the end of it for me with him. Everything after that, I just didn't enjoy because it's him writing. And when he writes, it just kind of flounders a bit. His humor is good, but it's like he misses a lot of marks. And so I did not like Robin Hood Men in Tights. I hated Dracula Dead and Loving It. Just terrible.
That one doesn't work at all. Yeah, he needed to
I
bring
felt
on help.
bad for Leslie because Leslie is so funny. And I'm like, God, you deserve better than this movie. Life Stinks was terrible. That's another Mel Brooks movie. It's just, I love Mel Brooks because he is funny. But for some reason, when he's not writing with another writer, his shit stinks.
What you said, you mentioned Blazing Saddles, and think about it. That would go back to what I said about like, once you have successful satire, it kind of cleans out everyone's mind for a genre. And then you can get the movies start to flow again and people are a little more accepting and forgiving. There's a little while between like Blazing Saddles and the next big one is maybe the next real big Western to come out after that might be Silverado.
85.
Takes a while for
later.
it to happen. It takes a while for things to cycle through. But I think because Disney has control of Deadpool, I don't think they're going to have successful satire, and they're going to spin it even faster. Just a hot take.
Well,
and by the way, I want to point out. Oh, go ahead.
I just watched two different YouTubers who did a first time reaction to Blazing Saddles, which I thought would be entertaining just to watch people today see a movie that not only couldn't be made today, it couldn't be released today. And I got exactly what I expected. They were just stunned. And eventually they kind of figured out what was going on with the dialogue and what Richard Pryor wrote and Sheriff Bart. But what struck me as funny to me is that neither of them figured out that the movie is completely self-conscious about the fact that it's a movie. Everybody in Blazing Saddles knows they're in a movie. From the very first scene, what in the wide world of sports is going on here? That's a modern reference. So when the camera pulls back off of the final brawl scene and you see the backlot of Warner Brothers, both channels reacted like, how did they get into the modern era? And I'm like, they've been in the modern era since the first
movie
scene.
The whole time,
Yes,
I do love that. It's fucking genius. By the way, the ants. I wanted to say this because we got to wrap up, buddy. I'm sorry.
Okay.
One of my favorite things in this is when he brings up the ants, and a lot of people don't know it's called the bull or bulldog ant, and they are a gnarly ant. They're the ones that grab skin when you like get bit by one and pull, and it won't let go. It'll pop its head off before it'll let go of you. And those are scary ants. They're big. They're not like what do they call them? Bullet ants. But they are gnarly. And if you got like 1,000 of those crawling on you, that would be a horrible way to die.
Those are the MacGyver ants, right?
Yeah. The ones with the long pinchers.
I remember that episode of MacGyver.
Yep. So I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. It was a great show today. I know we went over, but it was fun talking about this shit. And I deeply appreciate Teague and Justin of the Red Shirt being here, man. Look forward, Red Shirt, to you jumping on with us again. I'll let you know the films that we're going to do and you can just let me know if you want to join us.
Well, thank you for inviting me. This has been a lot of fun, and it
Oh,
is
you
one of
bet,
my
buddy.
favorite films.
And of course, back at you, Lady Miss, and all of you. We appreciate you all watching. Martin, thanks again for running the show. Stephen, always good to see you. Shanatsky, I like hanging out with you. And this girl that I love here, I love hanging out with her. So
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
love, it does too. I love love. Love is great. And by the way, here's this one for you, Anima, because we're getting ready to finish watching this.
How do you write women so well?
I think of a man, and I take away reason and accountability.
One of the greatest films ever made. We're out of here, guys. Everybody have a great Saturday and the rest of your weekend. Bye now. Bye. Wipeout. This show is brought to you by Stop.
Y'all come back.